that comes awesome experiences like Panthers Fan Fest, which leads us into our big 3 at 3. Let's jump right into it with number 1.
Number 1.
Panthers Fan Fest. It is, I guess, as close as you get to like a spring game, if you will, for the NFL. You put fans in the stands, you put the game uniforms on, you look a little bit more like a game situation, and you try to have some fun. That's what they had over the weekend. Dennis, you were there. And
It was a good time. The weather was actually wonderful. Even though it was a little rainy there early part of the practice, it was like, okay, it settled down and went away, and it was actually a nice night.
So it wasn't 900 degrees like
no,
it had
it
been?
wasn't. It felt
Beautiful.
wonderful.
That's a football god smiling on you as a unit. As everybody is going to do, everything Bryce Young is going to be broken down every different way. Dave Canales was asked if he was happy with Bryce Young's performance.
Absolutely. Just the operation of it all, and getting us out there, flowing in and out of personnel, some tempo involved in there, hitting most of his throws. I think a couple he might have missed, slightly. Even kind of that touchdown he had at the end. I wanted to get a 4th down attempt right there, but I think he's going to take a big hit and throw a touchdown on that play. But he's extending plays when he has to. But he was on time and on the money today, so I'm excited about where he's at.
The hard part about all of this is I can't get last year out of my head when it did seem like everything in the preseason was coming up Bryce, and then the rug was pulled out from under us on game 1. But it still doesn't change. Like, you want to see a guy commanding everything. You want to see a guy running the show, and it appears as if that's what Bryce was able to do. It appears as if that's what he's continued to do this training camp, and you just hope there's something that maybe is imperceptible to the layman's eye that is different from the strong camp, the positive vibes everybody had last year, and the strong camp and the positive vibes everybody has this year for Bryce Young. And maybe it goes without saying, but it wasn't all. Matter of fact, almost none of it was, Teteroa McMillan, right? So it's kind of the guys that have been around that are really changing everything, or at least playing better. And then you throw in the other rookie, Jimmy Horn Jr., which we'll talk about. That's number 1. Let's hit number 2.
Number 2.
UNC opened up their training camp over the weekend. We're talking Tar Heel football, which means Bill Belichick has now officially run a practice as a head coach in the ACC. A college coach, Bill Belichick. For those of you that said it was not actually going to happen, and those of us that even said, I'm going to have to believe it when I see it, we saw it. It happened. He ran a practice. And then after the practice, he spoke to the media. What did the 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach of the New England Patriots say about his Tar Heels? Well, we have the audio for you. He talked about the differences in assessing a team because no preseason, really no scrimmages against other teams in college. This is what Belichick had to say.
I think that's a really good point, and I've talked to a lot of college coaches about that, and I think there's a little bit more of a especially for us, a little bit more of an unknown, because even the guys that were here, they weren't here with us, and how exactly they'll react in game situations and under pressure, and how quickly and easily we'll be able to adjust or not adjust and all that. We're going to have to, find out that on the run. But, it's the same for every other team. So, we'll work against ourselves to a point, and then at some point we'll start doing some of the things that we'll see from our opponents, starting with TCU. And that's, what we do is a little bit different than what some other teams do, but we need to work on what we need to work on, and then we'll transition into a game week.
You're starting to see one of the difficulties with modern college scheduling. It used to be you led off with a tune-up game. And that was essentially your preseason, right? You went and found some down-on-their-luck FCS program. You paid them a bunch of money to show up and be your tune-up. But with the way media rights have gone, you want to have more premier games. With the way the college football playoff rewards big games, you're starting with TCU. On Monday Night Football, everybody's watching. That does amp up the lack of preseason games for you to get your feet underneath you. We're going to have to figure out some of this as we go. That means there will be adjustments on the sideline of a big game that are of the dramatic variety. Whoop, that guy can't do what we thought he could do. Put someone else in. Well, misplayed that guy's strengths. What else we got, coaches? It just so happens to be a Monday night football game between UNC and TCU, 8 o'clock, national television, and everybody's going to be watching. I do think, and that's maybe an underrated part of all of the NFL experience they have on their sideline and the coaches, like the moment won't be too big for them, right? No one is afraid of making the big decision on that sideline. It takes a particular amount of trust in yourself and crazy, like almost 50-50, to take the highest paid player in the league, number 1 pick, Drew Bledsoe, and say, nah, we're rolling with the 6th rounder in Tom Brady. And if you can make that decision, you can make the tough ones as quick as they need to come in college. That's number 2 on the Big 3 at 3 to start us off on a Monday. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Shout out to Cam Newton. Not Cam Newton, Cam Young. They're all the Cams associated with Carolina. Cam Young won the Wyndham Championship. Cameron Young played at Sedgefield Country Club right out there in Greensboro. Very nice course. Very long history of the Greater Greensboro Open, which is now known as the Wyndham Championship. It's a really cool moment for Cam Young because he went to Wake Forest. And it's his first career win. And he's a player who, I don't even know if the casual fan is super familiar with Cam Young, if you're just a casual golf fan. But if you're if you're splitting the difference between the casual fan and the golf nerds, you 100% are going, nah, Cam had to have won before. He's been like a top 20 golfer in the world. Of course he's won. Nope, not until this past weekend. 8 runner-up finishes in his career. 8 times, including some of the very biggest, very most prestigious, most difficult tournaments on the PGA Tour. He has finished as runner-up, but he had never gotten over the finish line. And Cam spoke to the media after the win about what it feels like to get his first win on the PGA Tour.
It feels great. It feels like a long time coming. I felt like for the first year and a half that I was out here, I had a chance to win every third week, it felt like, and they've been a bit more few and far between, but to have a chance like this today, I was not going to let it get away from me, and I'm thankful that I didn't.
It feels longer for him than even us. If you know anything about Cam Young's history, his dad worked at and was a head pro at one of the nicest clubs in the country in New York. He was winning AGCA junior whatevers at like 14 years old, national tournaments. He was on the Junior Ryder Cup, goes to Wake Forest, which I think if you're familiar with college golf, you're aware that Wake Forest ain't taking any scrubs. They're one of the strongest golf programs in all of college golf. He won the individual title at the U.S. Collegiate Championship as a freshman. And then he got to the PGA Tour, and he was one of those guys that he was going to tear it apart. Then it took him a while to actually win, but he got the monkey off his back. He got the metaphorical weight off of his shoulders, and it's a pretty cool one, right? One, he had a 6-stroke lead at the time it all finished, right? He won by 6. At times on Sunday, he had a 9-stroke lead on the field. If you are somebody that maybe has the angel and devil on your shoulders, and the devil keeps going, you're going to blow it and finish in second again. You're gonna finish it. It's another runner-up, Mr. Runner-up, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And then you look at the scoreboard and you're up 9. That probably does soothe your worries a little bit. He is also the 1,000th winner on the PGA Tour. Since the PGA Tour has begun recognizing winners, 1,000 different unique golfers have won at least one tournament. Cameron Young is the 1,000th.
That's a wild stat, by the way.
You want to know who the first winner was?
Who?
Willie Park of the 1860 British Open Championship.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't remember that?
From Willie Park to Cameron Young, with 998 golfers in between winning at least one. That is like baseball has that. Golf has that, like soccer. The sports with the true like century plus, multiple century histories are pretty darn cool. It's when you start talking football and you're like, well, pre-merger, it's like, yeah, that's like 50 years ago. This guy's like, I'm the 1,000th. Number one was in 1860. And that's when the PGA Tour started recognizing, not like when golf became popular, because obviously overseas there were popularities even before that. So old Tom Morris, if you want to get into it. There's some really cool stats there, and for Cameron Young, that gets to be like a cool part of your Wikipedia page, right? There's an old trivia question that you're the answer to forever and ever, right? You can't, if you're the best at something, somebody may beat that. If you're the first or the 1,000th or the number, like that can't be changed.
Mr. 1000.
Mr. 1000. Although I'm always worried about that kind of stuff because I guess golf, it doesn't happen as much, where it's like, they go back and retroactively take away a title for like, oh, we tested that sample and the 1986 champion was juicing. He's like, oh no, I'm 999. I think that's a plot to a Bernie Mac movie. The Drive with Tim,
actually, Mr. 3000.
Yeah, went back and took away some hits. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan will continue with Dennis, who had boots on the ground at Panthers Fan Fest over the weekend, gives us his biggest observations, what stood out to him. Stick around to find out.
It's not Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's Tuesday. The very first Tuesday.
New scratch-off tickets are available on the first Tuesday of every month.
Announcer said first Tuesday.
Brand new scratch-offs, brand new fun. Now from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Every first Tuesday. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included. Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. If you're in the market for a mortgage, good luck. Comparing apples to oranges is now more challenging than ever, as we've noticed a return to 80s-style lending with multiple points being charged up front in order to make the payment appear more attractive. Typically, the lowest rate quote you find will have the highest closing cost you'll find, as numerous lenders play this game of getting you to focus only on the payment and not the $15,000 due at closing. On refinancing, it's even worse, as lenders willingly add these costs to your loan amount. At Miller Lending, we don't believe in closing costs. By working with our popular no-cost program, you simply close on today's rates and refinance anytime you'd like. Nothing rolled in, nothing charged at closing. Imagine having the freedom to take advantage of smaller rate drops, opportunities to drop PMI, or simply put that money to better use. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender on MLS number 250-2146.
3 o'clock hour check of your Dow Jones, of your money. Dow Jones up 532 points today to 44,120. Market update brought to you by Bolton Construction Services. Bolton is actively hiring experienced HVAC techs with a $2,500 sign-on bonus. As a family-owned leader in HVAC, Bolton puts people first. Don't miss out. Apply now at boltonservice.com.
10 seconds. Andy pumps, floats one back in the end zone. Leggett brings it in. Ride dollar bill. Xavier Leggett. He does the horse ride, and the Panthers get the TD.
He does the horse ride. Yes, he does. Xavier Leggett. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9, The Fan.
That was a game, the home game against Atlanta.
He does the horse ride.
That's the first time we saw Dollar Bill.
That's it. Maybe it's just because Happy Gilmore 2 just came out, but doing the horsey dance, feeling the flow. Shout out to Kevin Nealon. The Panthers are in a really interesting spot, okay? Because There's a lot to like about what came out of Panthers Fan Fest from what everybody is saying, but I think we're past the point maybe of getting really excited about what we see in practice, and it's more about what they show in a game. It's more about like, okay, yeah, all right, we've seen enough of the potential. Now we need you to start living up to it, and you can't really do that with a Fan Fest.
Do it against someone else.
It's like if somebody says they're like, I'm going to try to be a stand-up comedian because, I always crush these wedding speeches. And I'm like, well, no, that's the warmest room. Everybody wants to laugh with you. Doing it there is not the same as, getting a group of people you don't know in a comedy cellar of some kind to laugh. It's different. But that doesn't mean there's nothing you can take away. And in the spirit of gleaning a couple of morsels of information out of FanFest, Dennis, you were in attendance. Give us, 3 if you have them, your big 3 kind of reactions or takeaways from FanFest. Which, by the way, if you don't know what FanFest is, it's essentially a training camp practice with a few more competitions, but they let fans in and they play it up more like a kind of hybrid scrimmage fan exhibition practice than just a normal practice.
Yeah, so they went through their full pregame routine because it's at Bank of America Stadium as opposed to their practice facility. So guys were actually in their uniforms. They were wearing the processed blue and all that stuff, which is a lot of cool. Guys kind of get the feel of them flow with that just because they're going to have to be doing it this Friday, at least, especially for rookies and new guys. But the biggest thing that stood out to me, number one, I'll give you 3 things here, Tim. The number one thing that really stood out to me is, they brought in another 1,000-yard rusher in Rico Dowdle, who looked strong, running behind that offensive line, but also the way that he being David Canales, used Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard together. Oftentimes actually seeing plays where those 2 guys were on the field together, much like we saw last year with Miles Sanders. And he looked strong running the ball, looked strong catching the ball as well. He was split out wide. He would line up in the slot. He'd motion in and out of the backfield. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. As much as we've talked about the pass catchers this year, and understandably so with Hunter Renfrow, the way he's playing in the competition at wide receiver, they're a run-first team that brought in another 1,000-yard rusher when Rico Dowdle, and he showed it. I was like, oh, gosh, this is going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch. What Jonathan Brooks was supposed to be when they drafted him.
That's I don't know if it's surprising to me. I'll be honest. I don't have super high expectations for Rico Dowdle. 1,000-yard rusher, but barely last year. I just keep looking at how bad the Cowboys' backfield is right now and going, Dowdle wasn't that expensive. Like, it seems like, the Cowboys, maybe if maybe that's why, and I don't know why I would be like, oh, Jerry Jones knows what's going on. But it's like the fact that he was available for the price makes me think, maybe I should temper expectations. But it's good that he looks good. I mean, yeah. I think he is kind of the direct backup to Chuba, in that if Chuba goes down, Dowdle just steps right into that same workload. But if you can get them both on the field, that's, I guess, a little interesting. Gives another tool in the tool bag of one Dave Canales.
I think it's a good complimentary back to Chuba Hubbard. I think that's the plan, is like these two are going to complement each other because there's the pass catching from Rico Dowdle was noticeable.
Again, not something he's known for, but if he can do it, I'm with it.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of thought that would be where Trevor Etienne gets his opportunities if he does. But hey, whoever's most effective, make it happen. What's your number 2?
Second one, free agent signing Bobby Brown. That is a massive human being who can also move. That's actually the thing that kind of stood out to me, is because a couple of the veteran guys had already a pre-planned veteran day off. For example, Derek Brown didn't participate in any of the team activities when they went to 11-on-11. Same thing with A'Shawn Robinson and J.C. Horn. Those guys had already had it predetermined. Hey, you're not going to do any of the team stuff. You'll do individuals. But Bobby Brown was lining up next to Tershawn Wharton and some others on the interior going against the ones, and he got into the backfield multiple times and put pressure on Bryce Young. And this is a guy, again, who's like 330 pounds and can move like that. I was like, the interior of that defensive line was actually, in the pass rushing situations, was actually getting into the backfield a little bit just because of their size and strength. It's an upgrade from what we saw last year, plain and simple.
That's fantastic to hear. Bobby Brown, just based on what he's done with the Rams, and as you mentioned, I think 332 is one of those, like, well, if I hit the sauna for a couple of hours, I could get down close to 332. I think he's 340.
Yeah, he probably is.
But he's listed at what he's listed at. But I think the best thing he does is not move, right? The best thing he does is on run plays, takes two guys and anchors down and frees up everybody else. If on pass plays he can get any kind of pass rush, any type of movement, I think that's all bonus, right? Because I think normally, especially the way they kind of work the interior of the defensive line, they're not. I don't think they're looking for Bobby Brown to get after the quarterback a ton. They're more looking at him to eat up blockers and let other guys get after the quarterback, or eat up blockers and let other guys get the tackles. He's not Derek Brown, who's going to end with 100 tackles on the season. I think if he ends with 25, but gets a lot of thank yous from other guys that get tackles for making their job easier, then he's done his job. What's number 3?
The final one was some of the young rookies, or some of the young receivers, I should say, actually stood out. Xavier Legette probably had like the biggest play of the day, I should say. It was he caught a short crossing route from Bryce Young, and just he showed the speed. He looked faster than he did at any point last year, even training camp, because, again, he had the surgery on his foot in the offseason. So he just looks healthier and stronger and faster, and just the confidence in himself is showing. And you saw it in that moment of that play. You're like, oh, that's the guy that they drafted to be. And then the second one, Jimmy Horn Jr. He actually showed a knack for getting open in the red zone, and even down near the goal line, even despite his lack of size. But because he's so shifty, so quick, he's just able to put one strong move on a defender, and he's open. That's the one thing that stood out. Jimmy Horn Jr. really popped on Saturday as well. So a couple of the young receivers that you expected in Legette and Jimmy Horn Jr. really showed out. No Hunter Renfrow again at practice. He was just in street clothes, which meant more reps for Jimmy Horn Jr. and some of the other guys that he's competing with a roster spot with. And he's making the most of that opportunity for sure.
I saw a lot of the clips of Jimmy Horn, and I saw all of the gushing of those in attendance of Jimmy Horn Jr. Touchdowns, I think, are kind of the easiest. Like, you don't have to be an expert to go like, he scored 2 touchdowns. What a good day for Jimmy Horn Jr. Doesn't it seem like this whole preseason, has been like 4 days Tedero McMillan, we're all going to praise you. 4 days Hunter Renfrow, we're all going to praise you. And it's just going down the wide receiver room right now, it's obviously Jimmy Horn Jr.'s turn.
Sure.
And it's almost like I expect, starting about Wednesday, we're all going to start hyping up Jalen Coker. And it's I don't know. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's just such an egalitarian offense that that's how the season's going to be. Everybody's going to, nobody's going to get the ball forced to them. It's always going to be kind of whoever has the hot hand. But it's definitely Jimmy Horn Jr.'s turn in the spotlight. Everybody's excited about him. Everybody is talking about how the size hasn't affected him. And obviously I hope that's true, but it's just a weird phenomena about this particular preseason that for 5 days you couldn't escape highlight plays from Tedero McMillan. Then 5 days you couldn't escape somebody telling you it looked like Hunter Renfrow of 2021 when he was a Pro Bowler. And now you can't escape you can't take in any Panthers content without somebody saying the biggest surprise is Jimmy Horn Jr. And really, Hunter Renfrow didn't play, but we're not hearing much about McMillan. We're not hearing much about Renfrow since obviously he's kind of been sitting down with the injury. It's like, not your turn right now. We're talking about Jimmy Horn Jr. And we'll see if it sticks. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Dennis for keeping us updated on everything going on out there at Panthers Fan Fest. Right now, I'm going to keep you updated on everything going on in your house. Yeah, you're darn right. Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. Right now, in your walls, your plumbing is working for now. Right now, somewhere in your electrical sockets, your electrical system is cruising, doing a great job for now. Your heating, your cooling, right? They're doing what they need to do. Your cooling system's probably been working a little overtime over the last month or two, maybe getting a little bit of break over the last few days, but that could be a great time to call Mainer Service Company just to get them to come out and check up on your cooling system. Right? Because if it's been doing its job, if it's been cranking, if it's been keeping your house cool despite the unbelievable humidity and heat, well, now that you have a little bit of a break time, it's just a little bit cooler outside. Mainer Service Company can come check out, make sure there's no issues on the horizon. And that goes for your heating, your cooling, your plumbing, your electric. Obviously, you want to keep their number in mind for when something breaks, when something is in need of an emergency fixing. Why is there water coming from my roof? And we're on the first floor of a 3-story building. Roof was the wrong term. Ceiling is the word I was looking for. That's when Maynard Service Company needs to be called ASAP. But also when you have a moment to get things serviced, get a little maintenance done, that could prevent those serious situations into the future. It's the same number for both cases. Give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MaynorServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We have the Dean's List coming up next. Who in the college sports world deserves a little extra praise? I'll tell you next.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Walmart Supercenters and Walmart Neighborhood Markets.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy Monday to you all. I'm having a good Monday. Hopefully you are as well. Because it's a football week. Panthers this Friday against the Cleveland Browns. It's just one joint practice this week?
Yes, Wednesday.
A little Wednesday joint practice action, which I think a lot of coaches are starting to find more value in the joint practices than the preseason games, because they still like to be able to protect the quarterback. I kind of get where they're coming from. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the Dean's List, so let's go ahead and put class in session. This is where we give the appropriate amount of praise to those in the college sports world, directly or indirectly, that deserve a little extra. We'll get it started with, I think it's big no news. I also am reluctant to praise people for doing like the bare minimum, exactly what they should do. But the college basketball power brokers that get to decide, the media people, the presidents, the committees that get to decide on the NCAA tournament size. The men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will not be expanding this season.
Thank God.
NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Dan Gavitt announced Monday, that's today, expanding the tournament fields is no longer being contemplated for the 2026 men's and women's basketball championships. That's the good. Perfect. However, he adds, the committees will continue conversations on whether to recommend expanding to 72 or 76 teams in advance of the 2027 championships. All right, well, don't do that. Okay, I'm praising you now for not doing it this year. Don't do it for next year either. It's perfect. The tournament is perfect. Actually, I should lie. I was lying there. It used to be perfect. 68's still not good. 64 is perfect, but 68 doesn't ruin it too much, so I'll settle for leaving it there. Don't add more. Don't do it. Do you have a Dean's List you'd like to add?
Well, I was going to say the NCAA. It's weird to say it, the NCAA. In the sense of, don't water down your product. That's something that we have seen in fields of like sports and entertainment as a whole. When you have something great, we feel like we have to throw more of that out there because people are like, oh, let's give them even more. You try and go over the top. You see this in like sequels of films and all that kind of stuff. Don't expand. You have something great already that people love and enjoy and know what to expect. Don't change it.
6th grade art teacher, I forget her name. The first lesson she talked to us about was, and this is, I mean, how good must an art lesson have been for me to remember it all these years later when it was in 6th grade. The first lesson was know when you're done. Because she's like, I've seen so many students have a great piece of art, right? Better than, like almost better than their talent level says they should be able to create. And they just got to add one more thing, and they got to get one more color, and they got to do one more brush stroke, and then it's not good anymore. So she literally made the rule. If she walks around and says you're done, pencils down, paints down, like you don't get to touch that anymore. She's like, you're not getting better than that. NCAA, don't make me get my 6th grade art teacher on you to walk up and go, pencils down, stop messing with it. Let it dry, take it home, show your parents. More Dean's List. Amir Brown, Rolesville High School running back, committed to the North Carolina Tar Heels for the class of 2027. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive recruiting to shut it down early. 2027 guys, you can still play the field.
Yeah, he's a rising junior at Rolesville.
5'11", 205-pound running back chose the Tar Heels over, amongst others, Texas and Notre Dame. So that's good for the player, right? Obviously, in order for him to make that kind of commitment, that kind of decision, he's found what he's looking for. Good for Rolesville. Rolesville now building up a very strong relationship with one Bill Belichick, sending a couple of recruits from the rising senior class and now at least one commitment from the rising junior class in high school. But also for UNC, right? We all expected Bill Belichick would have a positive impact on their recruiting. It at times has been hard to see thus far, but they're starting to catch a little rhythm. They're starting to understand how this whole thing works. And, getting a early commitment from a running back over Texas and Notre Dame. Texas and Notre Dame have a pretty good history of running backs.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame might be the highest drafted guy this year. Obviously, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Brooks, Jaden Ballou, all these guys that have been drafted recently out of Texas. There's something good there for UNC. Now, they're not no slouch either, to be fair, right? Javonte Williams, Omarion Hampton, British Brooks is still on an NFL roster.
Michael
Carter kicking around. Like they've got their guys as well. But that's all pre-Bill Belichick, so one, a good commitment.
I know there were questions to Bill Belichick when he was hired. Hey, what about recruiting in-state versus being a national thing? And he said, yeah, we want to go get the best players in the country, but we also want to get the best guys in this state as well. And getting 3 guys from Rolesville High School already committed to your team is pretty big. Because, goes to show, hey, I can recruit 3- and 4-star guys from right down the road.
And there's something in the water. That's a good recruiting area, not just Rolesville, but like a lot of those surrounding high schools do crank out very, very good players. If you can keep those pipelines greased and wheeling, you can really increase your talent level.
Noah Rogers was a 5-star recruit out of Rolesville High School.
There you go. I mean, if you're creating 5 stars, you're on the map because there's a lot of high schools that like the recruiting services won't even entertain putting a 5-star there because it's like, I don't know if you can do that. 4-star. If you had a 5-star, you're legit. Dean's List. Got a couple more here. Jacarius Peak from NC State, Damon Claiborne from Wake Forest, Duke Scott from NC State, Nick Morris from Duke, and Sean Brown from NC State. These are varying positions, offensive linemen, running backs, linebackers. They are on the athletic freak list. We'll dive in further. It's one of my favorite articles of the year. They put out 101 or 102 athletic freaks from all of college football, and they rank them. And the numbers are absurd. Heights, weights, 40 times, lifting times, GPS times. They're lifting numbers, not lifting times. Crazy. I don't know if there's like a better compliment you can give an athlete than like you're amongst the best athletes in the country at your sport. Like that is, you're going to get a smile on the player's face, right? It's like telling a coach their team is a physical bunch. That coach is just going to smile, right? There are certain compliments that hit harder. Athleticism is something most athletes take an absurd amount of pride in. So credit to those guys. They all made the list. We'll tell you some of their numbers later on and what they could mean for their ability to make an impact this football season. I've got more.
Real quick, back to your athletic freak list. Byron Brown, South Florida quarterback, is from Rolesville High School, the aforementioned Rolesville.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tying them all together.
He was ranked number 42 on the list.
Yeah. And maybe South Florida's got the cash after this upcoming year. If he wanted to, he could change his financial situation if he wants to hit that transfer portal, if you know what I'm putting down. Next up, I actually have 2 more here. This one's more serious than I have a fun one. I think we gotta go Clemson, Miami, and SMU to the Dean's List. The coaches poll, preseason coaches poll came out. Those are the ACC representatives. Clemson 6, Miami 10, SMU 16. Nobody else from the Big Ten in the top 25. I don't know, like Boise State, Kansas State, Iowa State. There's some that just saying a lot of those teams lost a lot. Iowa State has 2 day 2 draft pick wide receivers they need to replace. That ain't easy. Boise State, I don't know if you've heard, they gave the ball to Ashton Genty a lot last year. Got to replace all that production. BYU lost their quarterback. We might be able to sneak a couple more ACC teams onto the end of that list is what I'm saying. But for the meantime, Clemson, Miami, SMU. You're the ones up there carrying the flag for the ACC, so as much as it may pain me to say, keep it rolling. And last one, Hollywood Smothers, NC State running back, and memorable factor, Duke linebacker. FanDuel put out their college football all-name team lists. The dude's name at Duke is Memorable Factor. First name Memorable, last name Factor. First team all-name list, as is Hollywood Smothers. First team all-name list. Wake Forest wide receiver Karate Brenson, second team all-name list. And NC State offensive lineman Spike Souls, third team all-name list.
It's a great name, Spike Souls.
Not spelled like take your soul, like S-O-U-L, spelled a little differently, but from what I've gathered, pronounced that way. Would you like to hear some of the other names on the college football all-name list presented, or not presented, but put out by FanDuel?
Yes, absolutely.
What about Gentle Hunt? What about Gideon ESPN Lampron, Bowling Green linebacker? What about Badger Hargett, Ghost Rouser? What about last name Billity, first name Mo? Mo Billity. Nitro Tuggle.
Purdue wide receiver.
Darillist Clark. This is all just first team. I haven't even gotten to second team. Hype Grand.
Let's not forget, out of App State, offensive lineman Big Al Oliver.
Big Al Oliver. Cash Cheeks from UTEP tight end.
King Large, offensive lineman from SMU.
I could do this all day. Tell Wade. Tell him what? That's my name. Tell Wade. Gamble Ford. Knowledge Davis. Tell me Tiger Black doesn't sound like a comic book character of some kind.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Upton Belafont. All right. One more, and then I'm going to make myself move on. One more. Got to pick a good one. We'll go with the offensive lineman from West Virginia on the honorable mention list. Walter Youngbear. Should have went to Cal.
Should have.
They're so good. All right, The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Dean's List. Let's dismiss it. There you go. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something I was actually grateful to be able to do this weekend because the weather was finally nice. It's the first time I actually got to ride my motorcycle in about 5 weeks. You know, being out of town on vacation, the weather just being what it's been over the last month. It was nice to actually get back out on the motorcycle and ride. But one thing I had to make sure to do when I got on the motorcycle was I actually went to a parking lot right nearby where I live and did some tight turns and, you know, just kind of get a feel of the balance of my motorcycle once again. We always hear that in sports sometimes about getting back to the basics to kind of reinforce those fundamentals. And that's exactly what I needed to do before I actually went out on the road and started riding around. I needed to reinforce those fundamentals of being on a motorcycle and being safe on a motorcycle. It's a very important thing to do. Understand the balance and feel of your motorcycle so when you're on the road, you know exactly how your bike is going to handle. But even if you do everything right, you can still be injured in a motorcycle accident, and this is exactly where Law Tigers comes in. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact the insurance company. Insurance companies want to give you the least amount possible, whereas Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what you're going through after an accident, and most importantly, they also know what your bike and gear are worth. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan will name the winners and losers of the last week after this.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, I just saw something that we got to talk about real quick here, Dennis. The I guess Little League World Series is going on. I guess maybe regionals.
Yeah, I think regional stuff's going on.
Whatever this is. One of the long-standing traditions of the Little League World Series is when a guy comes up to bat, they put up his age, whatever, where he's from, stats, and then there's a question, right? Favorite food is, favorite athlete is, and they answer it, right? It's part of getting to know the kids. They just had whoever number 13 is for the team that's playing right now. Looks like Texas East. They had him up there, and it said favorite athlete is Ben Johns. I was like, wow, I don't even know who the athletes are anymore. I thought I was pretty connected. Parentheses, pickleball player.
Ha! For real?
There is a kid at the Little League Baseball World Series, favorite athlete. He's getting it with the dinks and the slams.
Jeez.
He's getting in the pickleball court. He's got tennis, but he doesn't want to run. He wants to step. The pickleball's taking over, man. We might want to learn the rules or something because about 10 years from now, our business, we're going to have to sit here and go, did you see the dink?
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
Easy there. Hey,
I'm telling you, got to learn the lingo.
Pause there, buddy.
Got to learn the lingo. That's one of the only things I know about pickleball is that term. Either way, shout out to number 13, and I guess Ben Johns gets to be a winner as we start winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
Yeah, Ben Johns, a pickleball player sitting at home watching Little League World Series, is like, I'm his favorite player? How did that happen? All right, winners and losers. This is who won, who lost the last week. More about vibes than it is who scored the most points. I'll start with one. Winner, Daniel Jones, former Duke quarterback.
Yeah, maybe.
The Colts put out their first unofficial depth chart. Guess who's the starting quarterback? Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. They gave him the or.
The old or.
So you're telling me there's a chance. That means they drafted Anthony Richardson relatively recently, 4th overall, and Daniel Jones is already an or. I think that's the door is ajar, Danny Dimes. Go get it. Loser, I'll kind of stay in the NFL quarterback world. Josh Allen.
Okay.
Khalil Shakir, week to week with an ankle injury. His running back, James Cook, is holding in and not practicing anymore. They already didn't have the most robust supporting cast for Josh Allen. And then I was thinking about this. It's going to be tough for him because Stephon Diggs is now in his division. That's his buddy, right? That's the guy that helped him level up in his career is now playing for the Patriots. That's got to – so there's some ins and outs around there that Josh Allen has to be feeling like, come on, man. Sure, I may have just won an MVP, married a movie star / pop star. I got what does he have, an almond farm? He's got a lot going for him, but hey, the supporting roster could be a little bit better, and now his buddy's playing for the Patriots. Do you have a winner or loser you'd like to throw out here, Dennis?
I'm actually going to go ahead and throw Anthony Richardson. The fact that
for him being an or?
Yeah, for him being the or. You were drafted top 5. And a guy that was brought in to essentially be your backup, quote-unquote, competition, got fired from his previous team last year in Daniel Jones. You're struggling to beat him out? That's a major red flag going into year 3.
I hate ors on depth charts. If you're going to put out a depth chart, I know you have to. Just pick one for the day. Winner. NBA players, financial managers. Just earlier today, De'Aaron Fox agreed to a 4-year, $229 million maximum contract extension with, I believe it's the Spurs, according to his agent, Rich Paul. That's an absurd amount of money, right? Was it 57 and change per year? Goodness gracious. And I learned some numbers about Luka's contract because Luka Doncic signed a extension with the Lakers, 3 years, $165 million, team option for the end. I learned some numbers about what he's setting himself up for, I should say. If he opts out of that player option for the 3rd year, he'll be eligible for a deal that would pay him over $1 million a game. be a $417-18 million deal, according to Bobby Marks of ESPN's cap predictions. And that means that it would start around $80 million a year and end around $95 million a year. 82 games in an NBA season. He'd end with over $1 million per game. Good on his financial manager. Loser, I guess we kind of have to say LeBron there. First time in a very long time, he doesn't have the most power on a roster that he's a part of. Lakers got to answer to Luka now. They're going to say, okay, LeBron, yeah, if Luka agrees, we'll do what you want. Can't imagine that goes over very well in the LeBron James household. Loser, Jerry Jones. How in the world are you in the position you are in with Micah Parsons? How in the world are you in the position you're in with Micah Parsons? Did you not see it coming? You didn't know he was going to want a lot of money when he was one of the best edge rushers in the league for all 4 of the years he's been in the league? Micah Parsons has had 12 or more sacks in all 4 of his first 4 seasons in the NFL. Do you know who else has done that in NFL history? Reggie White, and that's it. It's Micah Parsons and Reggie White. And somehow that's the one you're going to like dig your heels in and say, no. That's foolish. Winner. The 16% of college football quarterbacks that don't transfer. The Athletic did a study, or a count, I guess you could say, not really a study. And they're reporting that of the top 50 quarterbacks from the 2021 recruiting class, 84% of them have transferred at least once. The most of any position. Wide receivers 82 next, running backs 70 next. But that means there's 16% of college quarterbacks out there from the 2021 class that finished where they started. Now, I believe quarterbacks, every player, should be allowed to transfer if they want to, but I also believe I should be allowed to root for the ones that are loyal and stick around. Go 16%. What else we got here? Oh, I have a loser. This is a high-risk move by this person. Loser, Raheem Morris, Atlanta Falcons head coach.
Okay.
So, Raheem Morris did the high-risk move of jumping into a drill. He decides, I'm going to show Drake London how a physical defensive back plays in the NFL. And he, during a route drill, jumps in front of Drake London, tries to get physical with him. Drake London's a big dude now. Drake London, this is not a undersized wide receiver.
And in his physical prime?
Let's just say that Raheem Morris ended up on his backside immediately. Got his hands off him, got him down on the ground immediately. It's high risk, right? Because if the coach makes a play, boom, bragging rights, credibility for the rest of the year, right? Player can't say anything because you just say, remember what happened back in training camp. But now kind of the opposite happens, right? Coach, you know you're not ready for this. We learned that in training camp.
Are you sure that's what we need to do, Coach? I don't want to end up like you.
Yeah, it's you lose some bragging rights there pretty aggressively. So, Raheem Morris, loser. And I will finish with this one. Winner, football fans. Full slate of preseason games this weekend. Thursday, preseason games. Friday, preseason games. Saturday, preseason games. Sunday, preseason games. We got them all. Panthers on Friday, but you can watch the rest. Fantasy football research. Everything else you got going on.
By the way, for all the fantasy football people out there, don't do your draft until after the last preseason game. I've seen so many people do drafts after the first preseason game, and a guy they drafted in the 3rd round gets injured. That's done for the season with a torn ACL. I'm like, yo, just wait a couple weeks.
But also,
it's okay.
Have you ever had like the handcuff running back, and before the season starts, the starter goes down and had that energy rush of, look at that, I got another league winner. I've got some real bad stories there, but they're like bad beat poker stories, or, you know, the fish that jumped at the bait and you didn't catch. Nobody really cares about those stories as much as you want to tell them. Actually, side note, I got a business idea, Dennis. You ready for this business idea? I think for like $5 a month, maybe more. Might be $20 a month. I want to set up a network where you can text poker stories. You can text fantasy football stories about your fantasy football team, and I'll just be interested. No way. You were down by 14, and all you had was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and he scored to get you the win? Whoa.
This team will
Who were
never
they
lose
playing?
again.
Just because everybody wants to be able to tell those conversations, but nobody wants to listen to those conversations.
Yeah, no one cares about your fantasy.
So for like $20 a month, I'll just be interested. No way, dude. All you needed was not a jack to come up on the river? Oh, and it happened? How much was in the pot? I'll give you all of the interest you're looking for the low, low price of $20 a month. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's winners and losers here on The Drive. We have football at 4 coming up next. We look at the reports and reactions out of Panthers Fan Fest. Could have done winners and losers about Fan Fest, but we'll just talk about the reactions. Coming up next.
Is your heating and air system handling the hot weather okay? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains. Strep and sinus, minor sprains. Pink eye, earaches, fever, flu. Virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Mostly cloudy skies for us out there. This afternoon, a high of 83, and the humidity remains nice and low. Mid-60s overnight tonight, and mostly cloudy. And tomorrow's cloudy, too, with a small chance of showers and a high of 80 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 586 points to 44,174.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4, all about FanFest. All about FanFest. FanFest took place over the weekend for the Panthers. It is more than a practice, not quite a preseason game. It's like a demigod of a practice.
It's like a little bit of inter-squad scrimmage type bit to it as well.
The thing that I find most interesting about it is there is a bit of you can't spin it, right? Because it is in front of so many fans, because there is so many camera phones, because there's so many different people observing it, because all of that, you can't really say, I actually like the way they played if somebody had a rough day, right? They like, we saw it with our own eyes. People are there. They're witnesses. Meanwhile, with a practice, even the portions of practice that like the media can watch, if they're not allowed to film, it becomes like, my word against yours, and the coach's word is always going to carry so much more. So there is like there's less of a safety net, or you're more on display for something like a fan fest than you are a traditional practice. And then the other thing is, we talked, I think it was on Friday a bit, about the phenomena of gamers, right? Those that just play better when the lights get brighter, those that maybe aren't the best, at noon on a Tuesday, but are a little bit better when they're in the big stadium in the real jerseys and the big lights. You get a bit of that with the fan fest. So, I'm not taking anything 100%, but I'm taking notes. It's really, that's exactly what this is. That's the way to put it. I'm not making any hard and fast decisions based on what happened at FanFest, but I am taking notes of continue watching this. Look if there is anything real to this. For example, because it plays into the Bryce Young trade a bit, there are some clips of some horrendous decisions being made by Caleb Williams at the Bears Fan Fest, the Bears open practice. And I'm not going to sit here and go, I'm out on Caleb Williams. All that talent was a lie. But I guarantee you I will be watching the early games of the Bears and going, let's see what this guy's decision-making is, because that wasn't great. So with that being said, Bryce Young, I think, did well, right? With that, it wasn't perfect, right? And you'd almost be weird if it was. That probably means you're not testing him enough and your defense isn't good enough. But Bryce gets all the vibes again, right? He gets all the positivity. He gets all of the hey, you're doing a great job leading the team. The hard part about evaluating Bryce, and I think this has been hard the entire time he's been with Carolina, is he does everything right off the field. Says the right thing, by all accounts, is one of the first guys in, last guys out. Like all the cliches you want from your quarterback, he's done 100% of the time. Whether he's playing well on the football field or bad on the football field, he does the right stuff. So you never get those reports of like, well, this might pop up. This might be something that holds him back. So that hasn't changed, and he played well enough that it's not a thing. I have nothing I'm going to click on and watch because of FanFest that I wasn't already watching because of what Bryce has put on the field over his career. Positively, I'm going to start paying more attention to Jimmy Horn Jr. Positively, I said this earlier, it seems like it's his time in the wide receiver spotlight. Like every couple of days it changes to who the new wide receiver du jour is that everybody's talking about, and it's definitely Jimmy Horn's turn. But when you're talking about who might be a gamer, when FanFest happens, more eyeballs are on you, and darn near everyone unanimously leaves going, Jimmy Horn Jr. had a pretty good day. Like when it's that kind of rousing support, it's something where you're like, all right, let's see if this translates. Let's see if he can keep doing that.
It's not just a good day. It's compounding days because he's been looking good in practice by all accounts, and people I talked to as well. It's like, yeah, Jimmy Horn Jr. has been looking good, and it displayed for everyone.
Let's hear from Dave Canales. Dave Canales on why Jimmy Horn Jr., their 6th-round rookie draft pick out of Colorado, has been making plays.
Yeah, I think it's the energy he plays with, and he doesn't quit on routes. He continues, after the normal part of the protection you can count on, he continues to find space, and play fast. And it's a credit to his fitness, but it's also a credit to just the energy that he puts out there, that you want to throw to him.
Do you know what the irony is of that description? You darn right he kept running routes. He played with Shedeur Sanders last year. If you watched the way Shedeur handled himself in the pocket, he would hold on to the ball for everything, right? He took a lot of sacks, but he was trying to extend the play as much as he could. And guys like Jimmy Horn Jr., LeJontay Wester, or obviously Travis Hunter, if they stayed on the move, they might get rewarded with a big play. I've said this before, but the number one reason I was excited for Jimmy Horn as a draft pick, and I wasn't going in thinking he was, one of my top targets. I'm not going to pretend like I had some foresight. But I, in my evaluations of Shedeur Sanders, wrote down in my notes all over the place, goodness gracious, his wide receivers are talented. And it's not just Travis Hunter. Jimmy Horn Jr. got trusted a lot in Colorado, so it makes sense that if he's trusted a lot in Carolina, it's not new to him, right? Jimmy Horn Jr. also spoke to the media, and he was asked about his precision with routes and why it's so important to him.
I take pride in route running, man, because, that's like a number one thing as a receiver, being able to create space, get open, and I give a big shout-out to my trainer, Steph Brown and TJ. They helped me out a lot throughout the process of learning the real depth of running routes and stuff like that. I've always been a fast guy. They teach me tempo, teach me how to control my speed and run at a good pace. Not only just being fast, but being able to create separation and being able to stop on the down with my speed, which made me even more dangerous.
That's fantastic to hear because of what I've talked about with Jimmy Horn Jr. a few times here. We know what the flaw is on Jimmy Horn Jr. He's small, right? Like 5'8", 5'9", 170 pounds. Like we know that's what he has to overcome. He's got speed, he can catch, he's got so much of everything else. But that's his, burden to bear. Getting separation is the magic bullet. It's the golden elixir for that because, right, size is what you need when you got to put your body between the defender and the ball. Size is what you need when you got to fight off somebody for a catch. Size and strength and all of that is what you need when somebody is within arm's distance of you and they can grab and push and pull you and knock you off your route. If you're getting separation with route running and precision, that's one of those ways that it makes the flaw not matter, which has become one of my mantras going into draft season. Find out what's wrong with them and find out if it matters. Jimmy Horn Jr., it did not take long to figure out where the flaw in the prospect profile is, but it also could be solved with precision in the route running. Other guys I want to bring up. Corey Thornton. Are we going next undrafted free agent gem, next diamond in the rough in the secondary?
There's been a lot of buzz about him and how he's played in practice, and he actually got a lot of reps with the first team on Saturday because J.C. Horn sat out the team portion, which was already a pre-planned thing. So it was Mike Jackson and Thornton as your corners on the outside. And he looked good. I mean, not going to lie. He looked good. And he's got a lot of his size. He's 6'1", about 195, 200 pounds, so he has physical size as well. They may have uncovered another undrafted guy.
There's two sides to that coin because he was matched up a whole bunch with Teteroa McMillan.
Yeah, held his own.
And did very well, right? And the two ways to look at that are Corey Thornton must be a 6'1" press coverage magician that was uncovered in the undrafted free agent rookie pile. There's also a little bit of Teteroa McMillan probably should have been able to get off Corey Thornton's press man a bit more, and maybe something that I'm tracking both is I guess what I should say. I'm going to track McMillan's continued development on his releases to make sure that somebody like Corey Thornton can't have the type of success he had against Teteroa McMillan. But I'm also tracking Thornton because that secondary needs depth, and if you can find depth on the scrap heap, I'm not complaining about that at all. Especially because, we'll talk about it, but Krys Barnes, they just signed at off-ball linebacker, a guy with 30 career starts, hundreds of tackles in his career, 28 years old. They signed him as a obvious depth piece at linebacker, but somebody that you can be comfortable putting into an NFL game and having them hold their own. I think that was a position of need, off-ball backer. I think corner depth is a position of need. Maybe free safety depth is a position of need. And it's much more difficult to just go get a guy at corner or free safety, right? We were talking with Anish Shroff, what was that, Friday, which, by the way, check out Panther Talk, 6 o'clock right here on 99.9 The Fan. You'll hear more insight into the Panthers. Anish will be hosting. He's the voice of the Panthers. And he said, with Josie Jewell's surprise release, he's like, you can kind of go get a guy at middle inside linebacker. You can kind of go find one, which is what they did with Krys Barnes. You can't really do that with corner. So it's not like, oh, we'll just go get one of those serviceable, starting quality, you're comfortable with them corners that are just out there waiting to be signed. You can't do that. So if Corey Thornton becomes a guy who, in a pinch, you could throw out there and does some good things, will have some growing pains, but does some good things, I'm fine with that. Quickly, a couple other rookies. Rookie running back Trevor Etienne, again, nice cut. Everybody got excited. And then a defender knocked the ball loose. Some say it was after the whistle.
It was.
I mean, that's Petey from Remember the Titans, right? You hold on to the football no matter what. And I might even be me like projecting at this point. So I'm completely open to this being eye of the beholder. Trevor Etienne looks really good, but I haven't seen him look as good when the hits are live, right? When everything is real. So something as simple as like a cut being a beauty and then the ball getting punched out, I'm like, yeah, he's great until somebody put his hands on him. I want to see him do all of this flashy stuff in real tackling. Maybe we'll see it on Friday against Cleveland or in the joint practices a bit. And then Bam Martin Scott, who's another undrafted rookie, free agent, a linebacker that some think could end up being in the mix for that depth spot now that Josie Jewell's out. Intercepted Jack Plummer late in Fan Fest. You like to see guys that can get their hands on the ball and is doing some good stuff on special teams as well. So I just wanted to give a shout-out to another undrafted rookie free agent.
One of the fun plays from Fan Fest, they ran a fake punt to Lathan Ransom, and he almost scored a touchdown. Actually, Jimmy Horn Jr. is the one that brought him down.
Lathan Ransom was mentioned a lot as well, fourth round safety. Another physical specimen. He comes from Ohio State, right? Like he looks like what you would expect an Ohio State safety to look like. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have our ladder challenge to get to, but first, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending and Gordon Miller are a test in our math comprehension. Right, and that's for all of us. If you're looking for a mortgage, whether you timed it perfectly and the rates are low or didn't and the rates are a bit higher, right? Life is life. You got a new job. You need a house. You need to upsize, downsize. Can't always wait for the perfect moment. But you may be out there looking around and somebody with big flashing lights, our rates are lower than Miller's. This is where the math comprehension comes in. Ask them for all of the costs. Ask them for all of the fees. Right, because it's kind of like the airport deal. This ticket is cheaper. You're like, all right, I'll book that one. Yeah, do you want to carry on? Yes. All right, that'll be $500. Wait a second. Never mind, I'll check it. All right, that's $700. Wait, whoa. Well, would you like to have water on the flight? Sure, that's another $9. Would you like to not have a layover in Dallas for 2 days? I would like to not have a layover in Dallas that's another $200. Right, you keep adding on all the fees, all the costs, all the fees. And eventually you look at it and you're like, you know what? That price that was a little bit more but was all-inclusive, that came with everything, was a much better deal. At Miller Lending, you don't pay closing costs. No closing costs, no fees, no third-party surcharges, none of it. So sure, that rate may be a little bit better somewhere else, but think about it. If you're not paying costs and fees, how long will you have to own that mortgage? How long will you have to pay that monthly payment in order for it to actually be a better business decision? And then remember this, the average length of a mortgage in this country, 4 years. And it's been that way for a long time. Within, on average, 4 years, you'll move, you'll pay it off, you'll refi, you'll do something to end that mortgage. And is that enough time to get your money back? Again, math comprehension. I think if you break out the calculator, do it for yourself, or have Miller Lending help you with it, you'll see the no-cost loan. It's a good way to go. The number to call is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll see where the August Ladder Challenge is at the moment, and we'll defend the Carolina Hurricanes' defense. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
I keep getting the same question about, is Carolina done? I think Carolina is done for now. Too many teams in the NHL, 31 out of 32, actually think they're going to make the playoffs. So those teams are not giving away or selling off their best players. So Carolina will play the waiting game, and 2 months into the season, 3 months into the season, a lot of those teams aren't going to be in the playoff hunt. That's when Carolina strikes.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Joe Fortenbaugh here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with the promo code JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Ladder Challenge trophy is back in its rightful home in the host studio. Shout out to football season being back. That probably shows where I should be gambling my real money. We've had exactly one football game played, and I got a bet right on that game, which brought the trophy back home. And for pretty much the entire football offseason, it was escaping me in the producer studio. So, yeah, betting football might be the only place I have, but I have it. It's mine.
I know it was a heck of a pick. As soon as I saw the touchdown happen, I said, you know what? Plus 1,000, props to Tim on that one.
Trey Lance, touchdown, first drive. Nailed
Props
it.
to Tim on that.
Now I'm back to picking baseball for today. But I can tell you this. Started off the month. Shohei Ohtani, under 0.5 steals versus the Rays on Friday. 0 stolen bases by Shohei on Friday. So that is a big, big winner. He did have 2 on Sunday, so dodged a bullet there. 2 in one game. But that brought my $10 up to $11.33 as we start back with the traditional ladder challenge of kind of, you know, the idea of compound interest, just likely to win bets between minus 500 and minus 1,000 odds, and you just roll over the winnings and see how much you can rack up in a month. Dennis, how'd the weekend go for you?
It didn't, actually, because on that same game Friday, the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw was pitching, obviously against the Tampa Bay Rays, and I said, yeah, he's easily going to give up 1 earned run. No, it went like 6 shutout innings and then 5-0 win for the Dodgers. I was like, really? Come on. So anyway, I did not win, so I'm still at $10.
Betting against, what is he, a top 8 pitcher of all time?
I mean, I don't want to get into rankings and all that kind of stuff, but he is one of the best ever to do it. I'll say that.
Betting against greatness there. As this is ironic. Do you know why? Because I'm like, oh, you shouldn't bet against greatness. I'm 100% betting against greatness on my pick.
Okay.
Justin Verlander to allow at least 1 run versus Pittsburgh tonight.
Okay.
It's a very similar bet that I was just making fun of. Minus 750. Although I will say Verlander, I think he's like 42.
Yeah, he's up there in
showing his age a little bit with the Giants, getting into spats with umpires and stuff. It's a weird season for Verlander, and I'm a Verlander fan. I covered ODU baseball extensively earlier in my career. He's an ODU legend, so I've followed him for a long time. I just think, you made enough money. You got the MVP. You got the Cy Youngs. Like, just chill a little bit. Or you can just keep taking the beating of being a mediocre starter for the Giants for $15 million a year.
I saw him pitch against the Phillies, actually, when I went to a Giants game about a month ago. Saw him pitch against the Phillies, and he actually pitched pretty well. He got 0 run support in that game, just no help whatsoever. And he gave up 3 runs over 6 innings and unfortunately took the loss. But
that'd be plenty for me.
Yeah,
3 over 6 would be plenty for me. I just need 1 run allowed by Justin Verlander. Minus 750 would turn 1133 into 1284.
You know what the funny thing is on my bet? I also have a Justin Verlander bet.
Wow.
This is a complete coincidence, truly is. Because they're playing the Pirates, and the Pirates stink. Give me 3+ strikeouts by Justin Verlander, also a minus 750. So my $10 will turn into 1133.
So we're on kind of opposite sides, although not exactly. Like, they could both easily hit.
Just strike out the side one inning, and I'm good.
And then give up 1 run the next, and I'm good.
You know what? You can do it in the same inning.
You could. You absolutely could. That's the ladder challenge. We'll see who's staying ahead tomorrow, but the trophy is here, right here if you're watching on YouTube. Shout out to the trophy back here in the host studio. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Little bit of news from the Carolina Panthers. We hinted at it during Football at 4. Krys Barnes, 28-year-old linebacker, 30 career starts, hundreds of tackles in the NFL. He is signed by the Carolina Panthers. At the risk of overanalyzing what could end up being a move for a couple of weeks, Dennis, you like the signing?
I do. A guy that's, like you said, in his late 20s, I guess, late 20s. He's actually 27. But the thing is, for me, is someone that has starting experience, someone that actually can, for example, if Trevin Wallace gets nicked up and you can easily put him in and not really miss a beat, that's a good thing. It's what the Panthers needed to have. Someone that is experienced enough that you can just plug in and hopefully not miss a beat.
It's also this is gonna sound super obvious. You need guys you can play.
Yeah, that's really it. You need guys that can play.
But then also, like, even if there were a Trevin Wallace style player, somebody who you like the talent of, but is really young, I think it's one thing to expect them to be able to be effective when they're getting all the starter reps, when they're in the huddle every practice, when they're in there for every scrimmage, when they're in there for a joint practice, when they're with the starters. It's a different beast to be able to be taking a lot of mental reps and maybe not getting as many reps and still be able to go in there comfortably and play well. So I think a veteran is more fit for the latter, right? A veteran is more fit for, you know what, I can be in meetings, I can get my couple of reps here and there with the twos, and I can be ready to jump in if need be. Meanwhile, a rookie or a second-year player, if you're in that same situation, let me try to get my mental reps, let me get my reps here and there with the twos, and then if you go in, I think it's more difficult to be ready. So I think it's a good move, and you can also acknowledge that, and there's no disrespect to Krys Barnes, unbelievable athlete. You know, if you just play in the NFL for a year, you're like 1% of the 1% of the 1%. If Barnes doesn't work out, I think you can go find another Barnes. Like, I think there are guys like that. So you find the one of that archetype that you like the most, and you bring him in and you keep him as depth, and you probably ask him to do a little bit on special teams as well.
I know we're going to talk Canes here and stuff a little bit. It's kind of similar to when they signed Mike Riley, the defenseman who's got a good amount of NHL experience but doesn't have to be an everyday guy. You have an injury, you plug him in, you don't miss a beat. Or like what Greg McKegg was years ago for the Carolina Hurricanes. Same type deal. Tyson Jost, all those guys. Someone that you can trust, that you can just, again, plug in and the floor doesn't drop.
Exactly. We don't know what it does to the ceiling, but the floor doesn't drop. Yeah, you can still look to the rest of the defense and say, you guys can make your plays. He'll take care of what he needs to do. You don't have to cover for him. And also, you know, it is, if there is something fortuitous about what happened with Josie Jewell, right? And Josie Jewell was one of the more accomplished people on the defense, right? Definitely amongst the off-ball linebackers, and was somebody that was appearing like he was going to be heavily depended on. He never clears concussion protocol. You know, there's context to it, but on the eve of training camp, he gets released. That position is one you can get a guy, like we said. Because part of, you know, when a move like this happens, and it's, you know, as much as I and as much as we pay attention to every move with the Carolina Panthers, right? And I try not to bog you down with all of the details, but we have conversations about every little minute thing. The fact of the matter is we aren't in the war room, right? We're never 100% sure we're seeing the roster the same way Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are seeing the roster. I thought it was pretty obvious they had to go get, I mean, I didn't say Chris Barnes, but we pretty much described Chris Barnes. Like we said, go get a guy with some experience. Go get a guy that can play off ball, because right now it feels very harrowing if anything were to happen to Christian Roseboom or to Trevin Wallace. And then within 4 days of us having that conversation, they signed Chris Barnes. So it is a bit fulfilling to know, like, all right, we are seeing things decently. What I would say is the other things I think they need are not as easy to go get. Right? So, okay, cool. We saw the linebackers the right way. I also think they could use some corner depth. I also think they could use some free safety depth. I don't think those are as easy a choice, right? You can't just go get a guy with a bunch of starting experience. Those might be a bit more difficult. Those might involve a trade if you want to solve them in any kind of non-Band-Aid variety, something more permanent. Or, again, this is where we don't know what Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are thinking. Maybe they are just way more confident in Shaw Smith-Wade, Damani Richardson, Nick Scott as a veteran who kind of right now is penciled into one of the starting lineups at free safety. Or even somebody like Corey Thornton, the rookie we were talking about earlier, undrafted free agent rookie corner. Like if they see something there that makes them go, it's undeniable, we're good. That is one of those things that we just wouldn't know, because why in the world would they tell us? Right? They might have circles and stars around them on their depth charts that they keep in the room that they don't let media in. And if that's the case, we're just going to have to find out the old-fashioned way, which is, counting snap percentages after the game when we look around and go, did Corey Thornton play 43% of defensive snaps? And like when that happens is when we go, oh, they like that guy a lot more than I thought. And that makes the urgency for corner significantly less than I thought. But I'd still be surprised if that happens. The other thing about it, and this goes into FanFest, piece of audio from Dave Canales we didn't play earlier. He was asked about the level of physicality at training camp and if it's at the level he wants.
I love the physical play. That's got to be a left shoulder hit. If you try to get your right shoulder across, your head will be involved. You will be getting mail from the league office.
Wrong one. That's about Lathan Ransom. Let me actually play the correct one here, Tim.
Absolutely. Just the operation of it all, and
that was about Bryce, wasn't it? I'll actually use the Lathan Ransom one, because even that.
Now I have the correct
one. All right,
let's go. They somehow all got shuffled up on me, Tim. Here you go.
Absolutely, but I think what's happening is the guys are expecting physical play. They're expecting the collisions. They're expecting the physical nature of what we're looking for. And so I think when you set the expectation, then guys don't take it personal, because that's just how we practice. When you attack the ball, the offensive guys, they don't get to complain. When there's a big hit or a big block, that's legal. We're taking care of each other, but the guys are getting used to that, being comfortable playing, that physical style of play.
I think that's actually a great point. The fact that everybody's expecting physical play. The biggest fights that happen in training camp are the ones where it's a drill that's not supposed to have a lot of contact and somebody gets knocked on their rear end. And then their buddies have to come defend, and it becomes a whole thing. If it's a drill with physicality and there's a big hit, there's not a fight. There might be a helping up, there might be a little shoving, but it's mostly, all is fair when the bullets are supposed to be, live. Which goes along with the Lathan Ransom clip, which we don't have to play. But that right there, like, everything is changing. I don't even know, Dennis, if you recognize what he was saying. Actually, just go. Do you have the Lathan Ransom clip? There was a big hit on the sideline. Lathan Ransom, I almost said freshman, the rookie safety, with a big hit, and this is Dave Canales talking about it.
I love the physical play. That's got to be a left shoulder hit. If you try to get your right shoulder across, your head will be involved. You will be getting mail from the league office. So it's an educational process. He had another opportunity later on in the second half, and David Moore caught a ball in front of him. He was on track to make a huge hit right there, and he kind of just formed up, and I could see that would have been an excellent play by him. But so it's growth.
Everything is changing. Everything. Dennis, correct me if you're wrong on this one, because I haven't played defensive football since Pop Warner. But the way that it was always described to me growing up was you wanted to get your head when you're like, say somebody's running up the sideline, you wanted to get your head upfield and across because then it was harder for them to run through the tackle because your head was in the way, right? You're like your neck. So if somebody is running up the right sideline for the offensive right sideline, as a defensive player coming up to make the tackle, you wanted your head on the sideline side.
Yes.
Now they're saying not to do that. They're saying go with the other shoulder because if your head's across, that's a better chance of your head hitting their helmet, which is going to draw a flag and fines, which is just it's makes sense, right? It's a different way to think about it, but it is one of those deals where it's like I'm mid-30s. I'm not a billion years old. Throwing motions are completely different than what I was drilled into my brain over and over again during my college career. Like part of the crazy part of these athletes that play forever, you're talking about the Andy Daltons, the Adam Thielens, is like at the beginning of your career, you might be drilled one way, do it this way, do it this way. And then like 4 years later, they're like, actually,
it's a little different now.
Never mind. Helmet to the other side. Now I don't want your off arm when you throw ripping down. I want you to keep it up top. Like it just changes everything, which is hilarious. Along those lines, now I'm just ranting. Do you know you're supposed to, if you're tired, to get more air into your lungs, you're supposed to put your hands on your knees?
Yeah.
My entire life, I was getting side pain because they're like, hands above your head, stand up tall, air's up top. Harvard does a study. They're like, no, actually, the best way to recover is to put your hands on your knees. And your billions of years of evolution telling you to put your hands on your knees when you're tired may have been more right than your football guy, hardo coach yelling at you to stand tall. Things change. And that one right there is one of them. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's get into a quick Canes discussion. Got to defend the defense of the Canes. There is a social media post that popped up over the weekend. I was just kind of, scrolling, and I saw NHL Network, right? So not some scrub, right? It's at NHL Network official account on X.com. Asked me what I thought about Thomas Hickey, who was one of their analysts and former NHL defenseman. He put out a top 5 defensive rankings, defensive unit rankings in the NHL. Carolina wasn't even in the top 5. 1, Colorado. 2, Florida. 3, Dallas. 4, Washington. 5, Montreal. And my gut reaction when I saw it was to go full soapbox. I think I'm a bit conditioned to immediately jump to like angry combative mode when it comes to national media omitting the Carolina Hurricanes from darn near any list, to just go, this bleep again. Line them up. What do you want to do? I'm ready. And just start yelling, right? 10 minutes later, I'm yelling things like, slaving at the Four Nations. If you weren't watching, you don't know. And I don't even know how I got here. We are a long way from home, aren't we? I do think that there are obvious measures that would put the Carolina Hurricanes in the top 5 of most defensive units. I am open to interpretation of different people wanting different things from their defensive units. Obviously, the Canes don't have a, 90-point scorer on their blue line. If that's something you need to have a top defensive unit, okay. I still think, and I don't know if I will change, I still think when you're ranking defensive units, you should start with defense. I still think when you're ranking blue lines, you should start with how well did they prevent scoring chances. Now, last year, the Canes were 10th in goals allowed per game. 10th fewest. So that's not even top 5 there. Year before they were 4th, year before they were 2nd. So maybe it's just a recency thing. Oh, this isn't the Hurricanes that we knew. Oh, they missed Shea and Pesci so much. But guess what? Last year, meaning this most recent year when they were 10th in goals allowed per game, they still allowed the fewest shots against. in the entire league. So if you're including goalie in your defensive units, I can get it, right? Because Freddie and Piotr at different times left things to be desired last year. But if you're not the defense, like they gave up 47 fewer shots than anyone else in the league, and part of that is right offense possessing the puck and all of these other things. But if you that's the context that I feel like always works against the Canes, that never works for the Canes, and that's the part that really frustrates me. Right, the part that really frustrates me is the Canes get well actually'd a lot, and they never get well actually'd in favor of. Because I can sit here and go, they allowed the fewest shots against in the entire league, and it's not like by 1 or 2, by 47 shots. And then, well, actually, it's the system they play, and it's because they possess the puck in the offensive zone so much that there's not opportunities for blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, fine, that is true. But how come you don't give the well actually positive things, right? How come you don't give the well actually maybe Jacob Slavin could score more goals if that's what he were asked to do. Well, actually, adding Keandre Miller brings a different level of athleticism, right? If you're going to talk about actuallys, we need to talk about actually, Dmitry Orlov maybe wasn't the defensive stalwart that he was earlier in his career this year. So maybe there is a little bit of addition by subtraction there.
Do you want to look at, for example, takeaways? Among defensemen, this is across the entire NHL last year. Guess who led the entire NHL in takeaways last year? Take a wild guess.
Jacob Slavin.
Slavin, number 1 in the NHL. 1 ahead of Cale Makar, who Colorado Avalanche listed on this. Number 3, Lane Hudson, who was a Calder Trophy winner, Rookie of the Year. He was 3 out of Montreal. Okay, makes sense. Number 10 in the NHL last year, Keandre Miller. He had 47. You know who was 13th in the NHL last year? Sean Walker. You know who was 20th in the NHL last year? Shane Gostisbehere.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I just listed 4 of the top 20 guys who just happened to be on the Canes roster this upcoming season. And, oh, by the way, number 21 in the league was Brent Burns, who was actually tied with Shane Gostisbehere, where actually they were tied for 19th.
No, okay.
When you think about it. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, you lose Brent Burns, but you add the Keandre Miller. All right, cool. Got it. I really want to know the justifications for these rankings, but go on.
Well, that's the thing. There could be. I'm not saying that there is 0% chance that an intelligent person that's taking everything into account would have the Canes in the top 500. I'm not saying that there's no way they're 6th or 7th, right? I'm not saying that. And I'm not disrespecting the rest. But I am saying it doesn't feel like it's fair, right? If there are 8 teams that could potentially be in the top 5, seems like the Canes are always going to be in the 3 that don't make it, right? If there are, and it depends what the list is, right? If you're putting together a top 3 in some ranking and there's 7 deserving teams, why are the Canes never in the 3? If it should be just, kind of up in the air, whichever ones are the soup du jour, they just never are. And if you keep doing that long enough, if national media keeps disrespecting them long enough, it justifies my gut reactions to immediately want to go to battle every single time one of these shows up. If the national media was more fair, a list like this comes out, instead of me wanting to go, grab your torches and meet in the city square. Rather than doing that, I would go, all right, let's hear him out. Let's see why. Maybe, he values things differently than we do and he has good reason for it. Let's see. But you haven't heard the benefit of the doubt, national media, so instead, I'm ready for battle, reporting for duty, sir. I will defend the Carolina Hurricanes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Darn right I will defend the Carolina Hurricanes. You know what would be nice? If in that defense we had some athletic freaks on our side of the battle. It's my favorite article of the year. The Athletic put out their Athletics Freaks article. Which local college football players do you think made the list? You'll have to stick around to find out. And may not be an athletic freaks list, but if there is a can do everything to fix your house freaks list, Mainer Service Company would be on it. Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company and their owner, Brett. By the way, when I say freak, I mean that is in the most positive way possible. Like athletic freak, nobody will be upset to be called that. And the same is true for Brett. He is a home service company freak. If you talk to him, and I had the luxury of doing so, going to their warehouse, getting the tour by the owner, Brett himself, you learn, the reps, they're there, right? When you talk about an athletic freak, you don't start benching 500 pounds without pretty consistently making your way into that weight room. Well, you don't end up being Mainer Service Company where you have expert technicians to fix your heating system, your cooling system, your plumbing, your electrical system without getting the reps in as well. They have entire rooms of their warehouse dedicated to training. It seems simple, but not many service companies do it. They have the full I walked in. It's actually kind of crazy to see. Water heaters and AC units. And guess what they do? They break them. And then they tell their technicians to come fix them. It's practice. It's like a scrimmage. So that when your air conditioner breaks and you get called up, or you call up Mainer Service Company, I should say, that's game time, right? Then they're in there ready to roll because they've been practicing in their training units. It's about reps. It's about caring about what you do for a living, and it's about giving your customers the best service possible. Now, here's the only part you have to do. They'll do the work. They'll do the training. They'll get the reps in. You just have to remember the phone number, 919-361-0993. Save it in your phone right now, 919-361-0993, or visit them online at MainerServices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. Who are the biggest college football athletic freaks in the Triangle? In all positivity, that's a glowing compliment. Stick around to find out.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Adam Gold Show.
I keep getting the same question about, is Carolina done? I think Carolina is done for now. Too many teams in the NHL, 31 out of 32, actually think they're going to make the playoffs. So those teams are not giving away or selling off their best players. So Carolina will play the waiting game, and 2 months into the season, 3 months into the season, a lot of those teams aren't going to be in the playoff hunt. That's when Carolina strikes.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and so much more when you join today. You heard that right. Conquer the stair climber with your partner in climb. Enjoy a post-workout recovery session in the hydro massage, and do it all again with access to any of our 2,700 convenient locations. So, you coming? Get all the perks with a PF Black Card for $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Offer ends August 14th.
See Club for details.
It's not Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's Tuesday. The very first Tuesday.
New scratch-off tickets are available on the first Tuesday of every month.
Announcer said first Tuesday.
Brand new scratch-offs, brand new fun. Now from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Every first Tuesday. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
It is I, Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. Yes, I am back in Raleigh. Do I go downtown with so many places to party? No, I go to the Sharky's place. The good food, the fine drinks, the coldest of beers, and of course, the many, many beautiful people. I always hang at the Sharky's place, the coolest bar in the world, because, well, it was built for me. Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. The Sharky's place, 8800 de Raleigh Road by the Shelley Station.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There are certain articles I look forward to every year. One of them came out earlier today. Bruce Feldman of The Athletic puts a painstaking amount of effort to put together a list of the top 101 college football athletic freaks. Every year he does this. And every year I walk away having read most of the article because, 101, there's like full art, and it takes a while. And I go, it's unbelievable how impressive athletes have become at the college football level. Unbelievable. But I'm going to give you a couple of stats here before we get to the local guys. The first thing is this is, I think, a good way to show you how the athleticism is outlandish. Remember Travis Hunter? Remember him? Heisman Trophy winner. Played both ways.
Second overall pick?
Second overall pick. His coach, Liam Cohen, just told Rich Eisen that it's plausible that he will win both offensive and defensive rookies of the year. That's kind of crazy, right? Last year, he was not number one on the Athletics Freaks list for college football, despite the fact that he was going to play both ways again and win the Heisman. You know who was? A young man by the name of Nick Harbor of South Carolina. He is a wide receiver that in 2024 on the football team was listed at 6'5", 245 pounds. I mean, that's bigger. Whoever your favorite wide receiver is, he's bigger. Then during track season, he ran a 10.11 100-meter dash and a 20.2 200-meter dash. He was a second-team All-American sprinter at 6'5", 245 pounds. He was number one over Travis Hunter. So there's a dude that was picked as more athletic than Travis Hunter. He was number one. And do you know what's the craziest part about it?
What's that?
He's number 3 this year. They found 2 better athletes than him. And it kind of makes sense. One of them being an offensive lineman from Alabama, Caden Proctor, who is 6'7", 366 pounds and can jump 32 inches in the vert. I don't know how they calculate this, but they say he has 274 pounds of lean muscle. 274 pounds is a nice-sized defensive end. He has that much lean muscle, and he's an offensive tackle. And number one is Jeremiah Smith, the Ohio State wide receiver. Bonkers is a good way to describe his athleticism.
By the way, real quick, on the South Carolina wide receiver that you said ran at 245 pounds, ran a 10.1 100-meter dash. Yep. Noah Lyles, who won the Olympic gold medal for the United States back last summer, is 5'11", 170, and he won the Olympic gold at 9.79.
I mean, part of me wants to see what Nick Harbor could do if he did just cut like 50 pounds and tried to do the track thing. Because 6'5" is, that's Usain Bolt height, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. His body fat, though, at 245 is measured at 5%. Which is really difficult to maintain. Really difficult to maintain.
That is insane.
So that's what we're dealing with. That's the list we're dealing with here. I know what the next question is. It's very simple, right? It's, okay, what local guys made the list? We do this every year. We run through them. We talk about their unique physical traits. The highest-ranked triangle college football player on the Athletic Freak list is offensive tackle Jacarius Peak from NC State.
Okay.
Number 31 on the list. 6'4", 308-pound junior, who, by the way, was well above that weight, pushing like 350 going into his senior year of high school. So there's something to be said for, like, hey, if you're pretty athletic at 340, 350 and you drop 30 or 40 pounds, you got springs. This offseason, he ran a 4.86 40 and hit 19.8 miles per hour on the GPS at 308 pounds. Vertical jump 32.5. Very impressive shuttle of 4.37, which would have been the fastest shuttle time of any offensive lineman at the 2024 Combine.
So you said 19 miles an hour?
19.8.
Okay. Here's a little context for people that don't know how fast that is in terms of just visually watching it. You know, a Lime scooter that you might ride around in Raleigh or somewhere along those lines?
Dennis is the king of the Lime scooter.
The typical maximum speed on those is 15.5 miles per hour. So just visualize a guy 308 pounds running faster
Passing
than that.
You. On your left.
Yeah, exactly. Move over.
You'll feel the ground moving like it's Jurassic Park. Number 63 on the list, Damon Claiborne, Wake Forest running back / kick returner, 5'9", 192-pound senior. He has a flying 10-yard split time of, this can't be right, 0.9 seconds? That would be absurd. 25-yard buildup. It's with a 25-yard buildup. There you go. So that's a flying 10-yard split time. That's kind of not starting from a dead stop. Squatted 500 pounds this offseason, cleaned 300. He also, as they note, has the distinction of being the fastest speed grade of any running back in the video game, College Football 26. Another running back in the triangle. I was surprised by this one. Jaden Duke Scott from NC State, redshirt freshman, 5'11", 214 pounds, is number 66.
Been a lot of buzz for him this offseason, especially from Dave Doran.
Yeah, we talked with Dave Doran at the ACC Media Day, and he made sure to highlight Duke Scott. Power clean 375, which is a ton. Squatted 550, which is a ton. And apparently, as a high school sprinter in Georgia, lit up some track meets and even at one point posted a 4.3540. That's flying. So I'm excited to see what he has because they've talked about him highly as a football player. Now we see he's got the athletic profile to back it up. I want to see what he can do. Spelling Hollywood Smothers. Duke linebacker Nick Morris, number 69. Vertical jump, 40 inches. Smooth. 40-inch vert is – you know how everybody that's like 5'11" just says 6 foot? Or you know how everybody that runs anything under a 4.6 says they run a 4.4? 40-inch vert is one of the cooler things you can say. If you've ever had a 40-inch vert and you're like, hey, in my peak I had a 40-inch vert, that just sounds awesome. He hit 21.73 miles per hour on the GPS. Broad jump 10.2 and a fourth inches. 10 feet 2 and a fourth inches. Power clean numbers were bananas. Bench presses 415. Squatting well over 550. Cleaning over 350. Yeah. Nick Morris, Duke linebacker, redshirt senior. One more here as far as triangle college football players go. Number 75, Sean Brown, NC State linebacker. 6 foot, 224-pound senior. Clocked this offseason with a 4.4740. Even more impressive, 3.97 shuttle, which is really good in change of direction. 38.5-inch vert. Squatted 530 pounds. At 224 pounds. That's how much he weighs, 224. Squatted 530, benched 365, cleaned 325. Sometimes I think taking a safety and moving them to linebacker, putting on like 15 pounds is a cheat code for athleticism. Because he still moves like a safety, it appears, and he's playing linebacker. Some other names to pay attention to. Number 42, Byram Brown. 42 athlete in the country. South Florida quarterback, but came from Rollsville High School. 6'3.5", 232 pounds. Hit 22.5 miles per hour on the GPS. Squatted 600 pounds. You know what that tells me? That tells me they need to get the tush-push going, right? Because remember everybody was really excited about Jalen Hurts and how much he could squat at quarterback, and then it turned into the tush-push, and now people are like, it's unstoppable. Byram Brown squatting 600 pounds as a quarterback? Tush-push, make it happen.
It's pretty impressive.
Outlandish. Another North Carolina native, Bryce Young, not that Bryce Young.
Okay.
A different Bryce Young. Notre Dame defensive lineman from Charlotte area. He's number 44 on the list. Huge, 6'7", 270 pounds, which is massive. Put on almost 30 pounds since arriving at Notre Dame. Jumps 34.5 inches, bench 335, clean 335. He's a monster as well. You were pointing at me. Was there no one?
I just want to point out that Byram Brown doesn't turn 21 until the end of September. So he's still 20 years old, even though he's a senior. He's a senior. He's just super young.
Yeah, still growing. That's crazy. I mean, it truly is one of the more fun articles to read where you just every single one of them has something that's like, whoa, really? No way. It's unreal. The lengths that athletes have come is absolutely crazy. And shout out to like strength and conditioning coaches all over the country.
Brown will get he does have another year of eligibility after this year because in 2022 he just played 4 games. So he played the maximum allotment that he could, is still redshirt. And he did suffer a season-ending leg injury after 5 games last year. You never know, he could push for a medical redshirt or something along those lines. But he has a couple years of eligibility, and the numbers that he put up in 2023, he had over 3,200 passing yards, also had over 800 rushing yards, had 11 rushing touchdowns, 26 passing touchdowns. I mean, he's a good football player that's still, again, just physically young, but is obviously extremely physically gifted.
One might say he's an athletic freak.
One might say that.
One of the top 50 in the country.
But I also wonder as well, if he has a big season this year, could he be in the transfer portal that, we see Notre Dame goes after or something along those lines?
If he wanted to be. I think he's had the opportunity a couple times already to cash into the portal and has been loyal and stayed, and that's obviously his choice. But I would assume with just a normal year for him this year, if he stays healthy, could cash in a big way. By the way, we have a YouTube live poll going on right now. If you go to our YouTube live stream, 99.9 The Fan, search for us. You can watch every single episode of this show every single weekday at the time the show goes on live. In those comments, we've asked, which season are you most looking forward to? What is it, NFL season, college football season, NHL season, or college basketball season? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Because they're all, I know some are closer than others, but they're all sneaking up on us. Which one are you looking forward to most? Go ahead and vote. We'll report back on those votes and the results later on in the show. But for right now, Dennis, you have something you'd like to tell the people.
I do. Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, are you maxed out of your credit cards, maybe struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is outstanding. One Loan Pronto client recently just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Here's the thing, folks. When it comes to your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to the starting 5. Coming up next, don't go anywhere.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
My favorite player in the NFL ever is Dan Marino, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to be the modern Dan Marino. I don't want his career and his accomplishments to feel incomplete because he doesn't have a ring. And I think that's why we put so much pressure on him, because we all acknowledge the greatness, and we don't want to see him fall short of completing the resume.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent Trane dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone, available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bow Time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. That fine weather from the weekend carried over into Monday, but that's it for the rest of the week. We'll see clouds and rain every day through the weekend. 66 the low tonight with rain developing by daybreak. We'll have rain around for Tuesday, the high 78.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company. Where your comfort is their business, visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. The Dow Jones at the closing bell up 585 points today to 44,173.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the starting 5, some news that we talked about on Friday. It's back. The second annual Numbers Game live show presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill takes place Thursday, August 21st. The players over the last year that have had a perfect score on the Numbers Game, a 5 for 5, have been invited to join us for the Numbers Game live at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. And we will crown a champion amongst the perfect scores, the ultimate Numbers Game champion of the year. You can watch as we crown that champion live on YouTube. So go subscribe now, 99.9 The Fan. We'll have a live stream on the night of. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game live August 21st. I'm very much looking forward to it. Our listeners continue to amaze me when it comes to the Numbers Game, and I look forward to being amazed yet again. With that being said, it is time for the starting 5. Let's get into it.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Tugler in on Knipple, spins, goes up, got it blocked! Guess who? Cooper Flag threw it out of bounds!
For at least one more year, we don't have to worry about the NCAA tournament expanding. The NCAA has released a statement saying for the 2026 year, you don't got to worry about 72 teams or 76 teams or whatever funny number you want. It'll stay at 68 teams for the men's and women's college basketball tournaments. Do you know what's hard about this, Dennis? I want to give them a bunch of praise because I want them to know they should keep doing that, because they did say they're going to revisit it in 2027, and I want them to know that they should continue not expanding. But part of me also thinks, like, it would be as if I'm looking at a NFL player and congratulating them for, like, lifting weights in the offseason. Like, it's you're supposed to make the decisions that are what's best for the NCAA. And this is so obviously keeping the best thing about the NCAA awesome that it's just what you're supposed to do, right? I don't feel like I need to,
plain and simple.
I don't feel like I take a marathoner and go like, oh my goodness, it's so great that you ran. It's like, that's kind of your job. The NCAA is not expanding the NCAA tournament. Well, guess what? Expanding the NCAA tournament would be awful. So saying for this year we won't expand it is the minimum of what you can do. So good job, kind of. Good job, but keep doing it. Good job, I guess, if I have to.
Yeah, don't water down a product. If the NCAA tournament as is already great. Don't mess with it. Don't tinker with it even more. Because then it becomes less special.
Like a lot less special. And just so everybody knows, the first 3 teams out are always going to be mad. It doesn't matter if they're team 69, 70, 71, or 77, 78, 79. There's still going to be people mad they're not in the tournament. That's number 5 of the starting 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
University of North Carolina football received a commitment from Amir Brown, running back for Rolesville High School. This is interesting for a few reasons. First, Amir Brown is a 2027 recruiting class member, which means he is a rising junior in high school. I don't know what the expected number is, but Bill Belichick recruiting rising juniors is probably a good sign that he's going to be around, right? Like, if he knew there was some kind of an exit, when a guy signs up to be your coach and he's like 74 years old, are you just assuming he's going to be around 77 years old? Because Amir Brown either thinks that or is comfortable with whatever will happen next when he gives this commitment. Although this is probably a good time to remind everybody that you can't sign letter of intents. You can't accept any kind of revenue share contract. It's a verbal commit, so you can go back on those. But it's still good for UNC, and it shows that they're building a little bit of a pipeline to Rolesville. What are the Griffin Haynes twins in the rising senior class high school are both committed to UNC, and now their teammate Amir Brown, a rising junior, is committed to UNC, all at Rolesville. That's a nice little pipeline. You like to find those if you're a college coach, where you think if a good player pops up at a particular school, you have a nice little leg up, even if you still got to go close the deal.
Rolesville's producing some pretty high-end talent recently, because Noah Rogers, who's now at NC State, initially Ohio State, is a 5-star wide receiver from Rolesville. Byron Brown, who we just mentioned in the Athletics all-freak athlete list, the starting quarterback at South Florida, is from Rolesville High School as well. And there's a lot of really good young talent that's coming out of Rolesville for sure. And it's also, if you're Bill Belichick, it shows, hey, you know what? I can also recruit great players in state too.
And I've said this a whole bunch of times, so I won't go down the full rabbit hole. But I talk about moves that are 100% approval rating. Getting local guys to stay, getting in-state guys to stay, your fan base, especially studs, like 4 stars, like really good players, that is nearly 100% approval rating, right? It's for whatever reason, it's local pride, or it's you feel like you should have a leg up in the recruiting process with guys with local ties. It's one of those things that fans go nuts when you can keep a guy who was playing his high school football within like 100 miles of your school. If you can keep them and get them committed, it gets everybody really excited. I don't know if I've said it on this show, but I remember when I was playing at the University of Delaware, they on jerseys, for whatever reason it was, like our jerseys, right? Uniform. So usually they're uniformic, right? Usually everybody has the same one. If you were from the state of Delaware, they put just a little outline of the state on the patch on the chest of your jersey, like a logo. And I remember thinking, like, that's cool. I wasn't from the Delaware, but I was playing at Delaware, so I didn't get the patch. But I remember going, like, they've got a little extra pride, right? They got a little extra backing, and it was, I didn't complain about it, didn't feel left out. I felt like, no, those guys deserve they're repping their home state. Those little things, they matter just a bit more. So getting a local guy to stay home, good on Bill Belichick and the squad. And it's a running back. Can't have too many of them. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. Cam Young, former Wake Forest golfer, got his first career PGA Tour victory over the weekend. And in speaking of, staying home, I know he's a New York guy, but his college home is Winston-Salem, and his first career PGA Tour win came in Greensboro. Wyndham Championship. By the way, dominant victory by Cam Young. dominant victory by Cam Young. 6 strokes. Now, this was the last regular season PGA Tour event, so it doesn't have the most daunting field because a lot of guys are getting ready for the FedEx Cup playoffs, and they're gearing up if they've already punched their ticket. But do you know what you do have in the last event? You have a ton of desperate golfers, right? Because for those of you that are unfamiliar with the PGA Tour playoff format, the first tournament of the playoff, top 70 golfers in FedEx Cup ranking points get to go. So if you are between like 71 and 90 or 100, you go into the final event knowing you got to ball out to make that playoff. And then it's like once you're in the dance, right? Then anything can happen. So Cam Young maybe didn't dominate the most daunting field, but everybody there was gunning for it, right? And he smoked them. Had a big lead going into Sunday, birdied 5 straight early Sunday to take a 9-stroke lead. And then it's just, you play prevent, you keep the clock running, you par your way out, and you win by 6 strokes. Got the metaphorical monkey off his back. He was kind of a perpetually a bridesmaid, never a bride guy, meaning he finished runner-up for 8 different PGA Tour events. 8! And now he finally gets a trophy to bring home. Here is Cam Young on what it feels like to get his first win on the PGA Tour.
It feels great. It feels like a long time coming. I felt like for, the first year and a half that I was out here, I had a chance to win, every third week it felt like. And they've been a bit more few and far between. But to have a chance like this today, I was not going to let it get away from me, and I'm thankful that I didn't.
He had a runner-up, by the way, in some really, really big tournaments. WGC match play back in the day, where he made it all the way there, ended up getting, let me make sure I get this right, defeated by Sam Burns, which is a huge money tournament. Finished in a tie for 7th at the Masters back in whatever it was, 2024. Shot a 59 at the Travelers back in 2024. Just the 13th sub-60 round in PGA Tour history. That's a lot of very, very close calls, brushes with greatness before he finally got over the hump. And then on top of that, maybe he was just waiting. He became the 1,000th player to win on the PGA Tour. 1,000th. And actually, correct. Let me just Google something real quick. I think Ben Griffin, who may have been, or who is, a former UNC golfer, was the 999th unique winner on PGA Tour. So you get a couple of guys with triangle ties as the 999 and 1,000th unique winner on the PGA Tour. I don't know if that makes it more impressive or anything, but it's definitely a cool thing to say about yourself. Just know, like, one day you're watching a tournament, you might be the answer to, like, a Aflac trivia question. This golfer was the 1,000th unique golfer on the PGA Tour. You're sitting at home. That's me! You want to hear actually a funny story just because he was on the show the other day? The Aflac trivia question, for those of you, do they still do it on the college football broadcast?
I think they do.
Okay. So my cousin Sean Glennon, he'll be upset I'm telling this story, but it's a funny one. He was on our show recently because of the jersey mishap thing. Go check it out on YouTube if you haven't watched it. So Sean Glennon played for Virginia Tech. His first career completion was to himself. He threw a pass. He's a quarterback. Batted back by a defensive lineman. Caught it himself. Ran for 10 yards. So that's a part of his history, right? And years later, career's over, sitting at home, watching like a USC-Oregon game, and the Aflac trivia question pops up. And it said, who is the only player in NCAA history to complete the first pass of their career to themselves? And he's like, it's me, right? He's telling people he's watching the game with, I'm the answer to the Aflac trivia question. Whoa, oh my goodness. Comes back, Matt Leinart. Apparently they just didn't check or didn't know or didn't count his completion or whatever it was. But Matt Leinart's first completion was the same way. Threw it, batted back, he caught it, ran for a couple yards, and it ended up being his first completion. which he probably should have noticed, because why would they be doing a former Virginia Tech quarterback as the answer to an Aflac trivia question during USC Oregon? But that's pretty brutal when you are the answer, but you're not the answer. It's a nice little kick in the gut. Cam Young, 1,000th winner on the PGA Tour. No one else can do that. It'll only be him.
That's a cool stat. I'm Mr. 1000.
That is also number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
UNC Open training camp, football training camp over the weekend. And as expected, but I was optimistic that maybe this wouldn't be the way, they opened training camp without knowing who their starting quarterback is going to be. Bill Belichick was asked, when's the target date for naming a starting QB? This was after practice, and this is what the head coach said.
We don't have a specific date. I think the time will be when we're sure. In my experience as a coach has been, at that position where you're, you want to define who that is, and what you generally don't want to do is pick player A and then end up going to player B, let them compete, and then once you're sure it's player B, make it player B or player A, whoever it goes. So I think once we're confident that we know who has earned that spot, because that's what it'll be. It's not us picking them. It'll be that player earning it. Then we'll decide on that.
Well, when would you like to figure out who your starting quarterback is? Bill Belichick answers a little bit more about his desires with the starting quarterback decision.
Whoever earns it is going to be who gets it. That's the bottom line. Nobody's entitled to it. Nobody's going to be given anything. The player who plays the best and earns that playing time will get it. And I don't know who that's going to be. That'll be up to them. But it would certainly be good to have that done before the first game, and maybe even 2 weeks before the first game. The sooner the better. But it's better to make the right decision than a quick decision. So that's what we'll try to do. But that's one of the key questions we have to answer.
If they are truly still up in the air, they have no choice but to keep dragging it on, right? If they truly don't know in their heart of hearts, I'm talking the coaching staff, who is going to be the starting quarterback week 1, then they have no choice but to handle it the way they're handling it. If they do know, if they can look at each other and go, we all know where this is going to end up, I think you name the starter as soon as you can, and you let them live in it a little bit. It's funny because we've had this very same conversation about Mac Brown last year, and now we're having it about Bill Belichick this year. Just different. Actually, Max Johnson may be the same, but mostly different quarterbacks. If it's important for the player to get to be the starter, and what I mean by that is lead, right? Command. And as much as you say, well, they both can do that, they really can't. You can't have 2 cooks in the kitchen. You can't have 3 cooks in the kitchen. I think it's important that as soon as you know, you name when it comes to being the starting quarterback of a team. If you really don't know, that's got to be the priority. I like borderline run your practices in a way that, like, all right, what do we need to see them do to name a starter? Let's schedule all of that for early in the week so we can get this decision made.
It feels like Gio Lopez is going to be the starter. That's what it feels like. But
I would agree.
Would you put it past Belichick to basically internally tell everyone on the entire team, hey, we're keeping this in-house, but Gio's our starting quarterback, and we just, the public, don't know until the actual first offensive snap against TCU, just to keep TCU guessing? Because the last thing you want is TCU to sit there and go, all right, well, let's see Gio Lopez's skill set and what he did at South Alabama, as opposed to just keeping them guessing. I would not be shocked if that's the case.
I've obviously that is a possibility. I think that you gain significantly more by giving that confidence publicly to your quarterback than you do in giving up whatever kind of a tiny schematic advantage from not knowing who your quarterback is going to be with the defense. Like after, one series, it's like, all right, cool, we know what we're dealing with. I don't know if that really drags on, especially when you're looking at a season, right? It might give you a 1% advantage against TCU. It gives you nothing against Charlotte in week 2. I think there are certain things that get overblown there a little bit. I think naming a quarterback, getting behind them, having everybody rally behind them, let him do the interviews about being the starter, get all that out of the way, and then you can focus back on football. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1. Panthers had their Fan Fest practice, like kind of a elevated, more competitive half scrimmage, half practice, but in the game field in Bank of America Stadium, game jerseys, fans present, bigger deal on Saturday. And Dennis was there. Before we get his reactions, as everybody wants to know, how was Bryce Young? How was the quarterback? Well, Dave Canales was asked if he was happy about Bryce Young's performance after practice. This is what he said.
Absolutely. Just the operation of it all, and getting us out there, flowing in and out of personnel, some tempo involved in there, hitting most of his throws. I think a couple he might have missed, slightly. Even kind of that touchdown he had at the end. I wanted to get a 4th down attempt right there, but I think he's going to take a big hit and throw a touchdown on that play. But he's extending plays when he has to. But he was on time and on the money today, so I'm excited about where he's at.
It's about the operation. Getting out of the huddle, that's what we need to see. He did make, by the way, some really good throws as well. Some off-balance throws, some of the stuff that he's gonna have to do, quite frankly, with the size and things that he battles just from his physical skill set. So I thought it was a good day for Bryce Young. Dennis, you were there, you were in person. Do you second it that it was a good day for Bryce?
Yeah, I think it was a solid day for Bryce. I think like what Dave Canales said, the fact that he was. You can tell the command and understanding of the offense is built on from last year, where he was just quickly getting calls and everything in. And then one of the things as well about the practice and the Fan Fest was the Panthers actually didn't tell the players, hey, these are the plays that we're running today ahead of time. It was on the fly, okay, where do you got to go, where do you got to line up? They kind of made it a little bit game-like in that sense. So the players weren't fully aware of what play was going to be called next. So they had to get in and out of the huddle. Dave Canales was on a headset giving the plays to Bryce Young in his ear, so they kind of went through that operation a little bit, and it was smooth in that regard for the first time doing it this whole offseason. So I will say in that regard they did quite well, and Bryce Young is not afraid to just spread the ball around. He doesn't necessarily have to go to the same guy every single time. It was nice to see him go to Jatavian Sanders or go to Xavier Legette or whomever it might be that's out there. So that was a good day from Bryce Young, I would say, overall.
Teteroa McMillan did not make many headlines, if any, at Fan Fest, which I think is one of the – like if you would have asked fans what did they want to see walking in, the new flashy 8th overall pick wide receiver would have –
McMillan and Legette. This is what two guys a lot of people wanted to see.
Legette did fulfill some fireworks. Nice little catch and run, showed off the wheels. What'd you take away from McMillan's quiet day?
I think it's just he's still learning how to play at the NFL level. He has struggled, this by all accounts, even from the few practices I've been to. Press coverage, he still has to work on playing against the physicality and the size of NFL corners. So that's something that he's still working on. So he underwhelmed, but I also have to keep in mind for myself that, yeah, it's only his, 7th, 8th practice in an NFL uniform, at least a training camp, I should say. So there's still a lot for him to actually still learn about getting off the line of scrimmage and those kinds of things. But he catches everything that's thrown in his direction. That's the thing. Everything thrown in his direction, he pulls down.
Do you know what is kind of difficult for him, I bet? The way he's going to get off press is different than everybody else in that wide receiver room. With his body type, he needs to use his wingspan. He needs to hand fight a bit more and less quick feet and those sorts of things because that's not his game. So it's he's going to have to figure some things out on his own. My guess is he'll be watching film of other tall wide receivers, the Mike Evans, the Plaxico Burrises, guys along those lines. And that's where he's going to have to learn to get off that press coverage. Because the other thing that is 100% happening is the book is getting out on him a little bit. Every corner around the league is going, all right, I don't want to get in a jump ball situation with this guy. Let me get my hands on him early because that seems to be what he struggles with. It's like when, a young hitter, it's like he can't hit the curve. Well, guess what? You are getting a steady diet of curves. So he's going to have to figure it out. And, you'd hope that an 8th overall pick with his physical skill set will not only figure it out, but, kind of do so expeditiously. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will grab some numbers game contestants. We have an awesome prize that I'll tell you about in a second. But first, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. One of the things that I was very thankful about with this weather breaking and the cold weather coming through, first time in about 5 weeks, I was actually able to ride my motorcycle. I did that yesterday and also took the motorcycle into work today because, you know, it's just been sitting there parked. But because my motorcycle has been sitting there parked in the driveway for so long, yes, I had it under a cover to protect it from the elements, but there's still some dirt that gets underneath. There's still some runoff from some rain that might get into the bike. So one thing I had to do before I got even out on the road or started the bike up, I just had to wash my bike. That's actually one of the underrated things and underappreciated things that you need to do for a motorcycle is take care of it. Is just cleaning and washing your motorcycle regularly. Take care of all the dust and get that out of your brakes, get it out of the belts, all those kinds of things. That's something that you have to do. Make sure you wash your motorcycle regularly. Take care of your bike, and it will take care of you. But if you are injured in an accident, you're not at fault. This is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact insurance companies. Law Tigers attorneys are part of the motorcycle riding community, so they know what your bike and gear are worth, but also they know what you're going through after an accident. That's why your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers game contestants. The prize? A pair of tickets to see Jason Aldean at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 21st. So country music fans, you're going to want this one. You have to win, though, to get the tickets. And to win, you have to call in now. We need two contestants. 919-860-5326. Once again, the number to call, 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game and potentially win a pair of tickets to see Jason Aldean at Coastal Credit Union Music Park later this month. Numbers game, next.
Get ready.
Concepcion touchdown, 13 yards. NC State leads North Carolina with 8:01 to play.
College football kicks off August 23rd.
Jones a first down and more. 10-5. They've tied the game. Bully ball by the Duke offense. Down the far sideline. Caught at the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Carolina.
On 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's game night in Cary. North Carolina FC takes on the Tampa Bay Rowdies on Saturday, August 9th at First Horizon Stadium at 7:30 p.m. Grab your tickets now at tickets.northcarolinafc.com. Don't miss a moment of the action. Stay cool, stay fierce.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Juice box. I'm a mom.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check. Oh, hot sauce. Take it.
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins, a balloon. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 per month on Experience Beyond. Finance agreement $829.99 and qualifying ported. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay out via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Andrew in Raleigh and Andy in Clayton. They're going to battle it out for Jason Aldean tickets later this month at Coastal Credit Union Music Park. Now, as always, before the numbers game, I ask both contestants the same question. Then Dennis, our producer, and Judge in this case, gets to pick his favorite answer, and that person gets to go first. We'll start with Andrew in Raleigh. Andrew, are you there?
I am.
All right. The question, as it so often is on Monday, is what was the highlight of your weekend? What was the highlight of this past weekend? However, the one catch is Because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Let's go with Cam Young breaking through for his first win on the PGA Tour.
Cam Young breaking through for his first win on the PGA Tour. All right, you are locked in, Andrew. We'll see if your answer gets chosen. Andy and Clayton, you're up next. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, same question to you. What is the highlight of your past weekend, looking back at this weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
I've got a 3.5-year-old daughter, probably just out there in the backyard kicking the soccer ball around, trying to teach her some basics.
All right. Two very different answers, Dennis, but both with a local tie, a little heartwarming.
I know. That's
there's a little not easy, but that's why you're the judge.
That is not an easy one. Yeah, Cam Young getting his first PGA win. That's obviously big, Mr. 1000.
Right next to his college stomping grounds.
Yeah,
so
which I'm sure it's at a course that he probably played frequently when he was at Wake
and I'm sure
Forest.
he had a bunch of, like his old coach and stuff. I'm sure there were some people there that he knew.
But you're tugging at the heartstrings there, Andy and Clayton, with the out in the backyard on a wonderful weekend. Yeah, I got to go with the Andy and Clayton on this one. That's
weather was finally okay to do something.
Yeah,
like
I
that,
know.
be outside kicking around a soccer ball. Andy and Clayton gets to go first. Andrew and Raleigh, don't worry, you will have your chance. Just have to sit there on hold for a minute or two. Andy and Clayton, you get to go first. Are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right, we are NFL players with short names, meaning first and last names combined for 9 letters or less. NFL players, ballers from the MAC, all players that played college in the Mid-American Conference. NBA Purdue's finest, players that played in college at Purdue. Or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's put the NFL short names.
All right, these are all players whose first and last names combined make 9 letters or less. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jerry Rice, San Francisco 49ers.
80.
Correct. Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
13.
Correct. Phil Simms, New York Giants.
11.
Correct. John Lynch, Denver Broncos.
47.
Correct. Eric Ebron, Detroit Lions.
85.
Correct. Perfect score.
17 seconds.
17 seconds.
17 seconds.
That's very good, Andy.
Let's go.
I'm impressed. I will let you know this, though. We've been talking about how perfect scores get invited to the Numbers Game Live. We have already turned the page towards the next one. Since invitations have been set out and everything, this perfect score will count towards next year's Numbers Game Live. But you would be the first to qualify if it holds up and you don't get beaten here by Andrew and Raleigh.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right, Andrew and Raleigh, are you there?
Yep.
All right, it's a tough challenge in front of you. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, but we've seen it done. We have seen a 5 for 5 lose to a faster 5 for 5 on the next one. So, are you ready to pick a category?
Yeah, I've lost to the 5 for 5 after going 5 for 5.
Okay, well then maybe this is your chance at a little revenge. Maybe this is the cosmic retribution you've been waiting for.
That's it, and we're going to go with the MAC.
Okay, so NFL players, ballers from the MAC. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You do need all 5 for the win, faster than your opponent. But even if you don't get it, keep going because there are other perks that come with being a 5 for 5. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Max Crosby, Las Vegas Raiders.
98.
Correct. Josh Cribbs, Cleveland Browns.
18.
Say it again.
18.
Incorrect. Greg Jennings, Green Bay Packers.
85.
Correct. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers.
7.
Correct. Khalil Mack, Los Angeles Chargers.
52.
Correct. Josh Cribbs, Cleveland Browns.
11.
Incorrect. Josh Cribbs, Cleveland Browns.
Couldn't tell you.
16. 16.
Close.
You were close, and I thought you might just fire away, but you were, if you don't know it, you don't want to luck into it, I guess. Got a little honor there of some kind. 4 out of 5 is good. If you've lost with a 5 for 5 and losing with a 4 for 5, you've got some bad luck there. But keep trying, all right? Hopefully you had some fun. All right. bumped. Didn't know Josh Cribbs, and I ain't talking.
I mean, that's a bad beat. Yeah, I go 4 for 5, or I had 5 for 5 and still didn't win. That's rough. That's rough.
But I will say, I didn't love the couldn't tell you. Just here, you want to know a fun fact, everybody? There's a good chance if you said 18 and I had to ask you to repeat it, that it might sound something like 18. Because if you said 18 and I was looking for 42, I probably wouldn't go like, oh, can you say that again? Because I'd know what it's not 42. Just throw out another teen is kind of what I'm getting at there. But that's, again, do what you want. Josh Cribbs is not an easy one, though. Played at Kent State. For the record, the MAC guys, Eastern Michigan for Max Crosby, Kent State, Josh Cribbs, Western Michigan for Greg Jennings, Miami of Ohio for Ben Roethlisberger, and, of course, Buffalo for Khalil Mack. That means our perfect score winner is Andy and Clayton. Andy, congrats.
Thank you, sir. Looks like I got to find a babysitter.
You got to find a babysitter, and I assume that means you already have the other seat filled because it's a pair of tickets. But congratulations. You'll be seeing Jason Aldean.
All right. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Stay on the line. Stay on the line so Dennis can get the info he needs to get from you. Normally I'm better at not forgetting that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on quickly here, the coaches poll came out today in college football, August 4th, the initial coaches poll. So I'll read it to you, and then we'll discuss some reactions here quickly. Texas, with 28 first-place votes, has the most first-place votes and is up there in first with 1,606 points overall. That's pretty good. Ohio State is in second, Penn State third, Georgia fourth, Notre Dame rounds out the top 5. We have our initial highest-ranked ACC team, Clemson, 6th overall, Oregon 7th, Bama 8th, LSU 9th. Another ACC team in the top 10, Miami, works their way into 10th. Arizona State 11, Illinois 12, South Carolina, Dennis won't like that, 13. Michigan 14th, Ole Miss 15th, SMU 16th. There's another ACC team, so 3 in the top 16. Florida 17 as they look to capitalize on a very difficult schedule. Tennessee 18, Indiana 19. Their schedule was a breeze last year. I guess they're expecting to be better this year. Kansas State 20, Texas A&M 21, Iowa State also 21. How about that? A dead heat, both with no first-place votes and 392 overall points. Texas A&M and Iowa State tied for 21st. BYU, Texas Tech, and Boise State rounding out number 23, 24, 25. So everything about coaches polls, everything about rankings obviously start moving towards the college football playoff, right? When that's just the way our brain works, right? There's a cutoff that I see in every ranking I look at after the 12th team. If it were to end this way and conference champions would all be won by some of the better teams, the ACC would get 2 in and there would be another in SMU knocking on the door. I don't think that's how it's going to end up. Right at this point last year, we would have had Florida State 10th overall, and they were one of the worst teams in all of Power Conference football. So there are definitely things on this list that will not end up the way we expect them to. But where you start does influence where you finish. And where you start on things like the coaches poll does influence how people look at your schedule, right? If you have a whole bunch of top 25 teams preseason, they just feel like bigger wins. So, would I have liked to have seen a few more ACC teams squeak into the bottom part of the top 25? You're darn right. You're absolutely right. I would, because it increases the everything. It increases your strength of schedule, just how big they feel, and everything else. But it didn't happen, right? The ACC has the 3, and the 3 you would expect. Clemson, Miami in the top 10. SMU is 16th. You're looking at teams that are trying to make the CFP. I think those are probably the betting favorites out of the conference. Others receiving votes, Louisville is in what would be called the 28th spot, right? Third, also receiving votes outside the 25. I'm looking. Georgia Tech somewhere in the 30s with 27 total points, not a lot there. Syracuse, Duke getting a couple in the also receiving votes category. Florida State getting a couple in the also receiving votes category. And that's where it stands. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Where does it stand between Micah Parsons and the Cowboys? And more importantly, what can other teams learn from the debacle the Cowboys have found themselves in, including the Carolina Panthers? What can they learn? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
A public service announcement on the dangers of hopium. Yes, hopium, a powerful substance before a season starts. Every NFL fan gets a taste, especially with the Carolina Panthers, where it seems continuity has created a side effect: the use of the word playoffs. One piece of advice: until they lead the division, just say no.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As always, in any relationships, there are different moods at different times of your relationship. That's what it is. Don't lose any sleep over.
So just to be
That's
clear,
the one thing I would say to our fans. Don't lose any sleep over.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Easy for you to say, Jerry. Cowboys fans are like, yeah, I wouldn't lose sleep over it either if I were sleeping on my yacht. So Micah Parsons has requested a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. And I acknowledge everything in life doesn't have to have doesn't have to be a big to-do. Some things can just be fun, right? Some things can just be a comedy movie, right? Some things can just be, I want to sit down and laugh. So if we want to sit around and just laugh at Jerry Jones for finding himself in this situation, I'm for it. Let's crack some jokes. Let's get a good chuckle in. But I also believe that if you look at somebody who's in a really tough situation, got themselves put into a bad situation, one of the things you should do is make sure you look at how they got there and go, well, let's do everything we can to make sure we don't follow in their footsteps, right? And this is one of the things I've been talking about for the Carolina Panthers, which is there will be things that surprise you in a football season. There will be things that surprise you in a build, right? In a roster building, as you build year over year, there will be things that surprise you. But you can't let the predictable things get you caught up, because you'll be surprised enough by the stuff you can't see coming. The worst part about what Jerry Jones has done in the Micah Parsons deal is not how much money he's offered, or it's not interacting with the agent. It's although those are bad. It's not handling it so publicly, although I don't disagree with it. Like, those are all missteps. To me, the biggest misstep is you knew Micah Parsons was a beast. You drafted him top half of the first round. From the moment he stepped into your facility, he's been one of the best defensive players in the league. His rookie year, 13 sacks, 20 tackles for a loss, 30 quarterback hits, first team All-Pro, second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, Pro Bowl, Rookie of the Year. That's his rookie season only. The moment you see that, as a league, as a team planner, you get together and you go, guess what? All right, dude's a stud. Let's plan to get him locked up after his third year. What's the price going to be? Well, we'll see what the market is at that time. We're probably going to have to take the highest paid player at his position, add a couple million per year, and go from there. Hat tip to, I think it was Dominique Foxworth. I saw kind of the gist of this point made on ESPN. You don't walk into a Lamborghini dealership looking for a deal, right? You walk in and recognize you are buying a luxury car. You are buying a top of the line, and what the price is what the price is. That's Micah Parsons. And you knew it all along. If Micah Parsons stunk for 2 years, 3 years, if he was mediocre for 2 or 3 years, and then had a Defensive Player of the Year season and was coming to ask for $40 million, I could understand you going like, whoa, I don't know if we can do it. Maybe we should wait. We got to see, the way my checking account's set up. There's a savings into checking. I got to move some money. Like, then because you're a little surprised by it. But when you are one of the best defensive players in the league at a premium position every year, there's no reason to be like, well, we got to wait and see. Which is why I've had conversations on this show when Garrett Wilson signed his contract extension with the Jets, right? That he's after his third year going into his fourth as what he's been a top 20 wide receiver thus far in his career. I wouldn't say top 5, nothing crazy. He's not up there with the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases of the world. So when Garrett Wilson signed a record-breaking contract for a wide receiver after his third year, my mind immediately went to Panthers should start planning to have at least that much ready 3 years from now under the cap comfortably for Tetairoa McMillan. Right? Top 10 pick. Not great offenses. That if it works out with Tetairoa McMillan, you're going to have to pay that probably plus a little bit. So start planning for it now. And guess what? If McMillan stinks, it's not a problem to have extra money, right? It's better to have the money and not need it for the player than to need it for the player and not have it. And the way that the NFL market is working, especially at the premium positions, edge rusher, wide receiver, quarterback, blindside tackle, interior defensive line, corner, is if you are a top 20 at your position, whatever the highest paid guy is, tack on a little bit, there you go. That's what it's becoming. So the fact that Jerry Jones is talking about, oh, well, we paid this guy and that guy and it hasn't always worked out. It's like, oh, you don't understand how this works, do you? Right? Oh, they paid Micah Parsons and the Cowboys defense, or they had Micah Parsons the last 4 years and the defense hasn't been great. So why are you going to pay Micah Parsons now? I'm going like, it's not his fault you overpaid Terrence Steele, Trevon Diggs, and Dak Prescott. You got to look at him, the player, and plan for that. Or be really willing to be an absolute stone cold ice in your veins guy and trade him. I wouldn't advise it because, you kind of wait your entire career to get a guy like that.
I see. Micah Parsons just don't grow on trees.
Not even close. And I didn't even bring this up. The craziest part about how good he's been early in his career, does anybody remember the conversation around him as a rookie? Aside from him being really good, he was playing off-ball linebacker. He was running in coverage. I remember one of the highlights from his rookie year was running with a wheel route and getting a pass breakup like 35 yards downfield, and he still finished with 13 sacks that year. He wasn't a full-time edge rusher.
Yeah, he was just like all across the front seven, just line him up anywhere.
Yeah, he was kind of what everybody wanted Isaiah Simmons to be. And then he ended up being so good as an edge rusher that they've moved him almost primarily there. But goodness gracious, you don't mess with this. You don't mess with this. And you have to be looking ahead and prepared to make the market value deals when you can. Once you know it's a dude, right? Once you know he's one of those guys, they're like, name a contract for an obvious stud in their, I would say, mid-20s to even late 20s that is aged poorly. It really doesn't exist. As long as you're able to get like 4 years term at least, the cap goes up. Somebody will break the market that you set the very next one. He'll be the highest paid defensive player for like a month, and then somebody else will break it because that's the way it works. Think about the J.C. Horn deal for the Carolina Panthers. J.C. Horn's not, at least as of thus far in his career, a top 5 corner in the league. When healthy, I don't know, top 10, 15, something along those lines. When healthy, he signed the biggest contract in defensive back history in the NFL. $25 million per year. He was the highest paid defensive back in NFL history for like 7 days. And then Stingley Jr. down there in Houston signed for $5 million more per year. And then a couple months later, Sauce Gardner even one-upped that contract. So already he's the 3rd highest paid in the league at his position. And already he's $5 million or more behind the guys above him per year. The cap's going up. You lock him in early, the earlier the better. And now all you've done is upset Micah Parsons. And do you know what's the difference here between some of the other guys and Micah Parsons that are having holdouts like a Trey Hendrickson, a Terry McLaurin, a James Cook, somewhere around the league, guys that are holding in or demanding trades? Micah seems, personality-wise, a little bit more ready for a fight. Right? He doesn't always say the right thing. He speaks his mind. He's got the podcast. He answers questions honestly, and his teammates are showing a little bit of support, meaning CeeDee Lamb defended him on Twitter. 3 or 4 other teammates changed their profile pictures to pictures of them with Micah Parsons. I think the reason that players settle when they're in these standoffs more often than anything is they feel bad for their teammates. They don't want to leave their teammates high and dry, right? They don't want their teammates to not have him out there helping them win games. So eventually they go, fine, give me the best offer you can and I'll take it. But if your teammates are almost encouraging your stance, I think there's a little bit more stubbornness that you can find within yourself without feeling like you're holding those teammates back.
Yeah, you can dig in a little more. If your teammates have your back, you can dig in a little more.
And part of it is a lot of those guys have been done wrong by Jerry Jones in the negotiating process. CeeDee's going, yeah, he made me wait too. Nah, stick in, right? Like stick your heels in the ground, right? Other guys are going, nah, he can do that to some of these others. He shouldn't be doing it to you. And they're like on your side with it. And that's where I think Dan Morgan, being a former player, comes into play for the Carolina Panthers. He knows what plays well and what doesn't. He knows what relationships are important and which ones you can stress a bit. Like there are certain things that just should not happen when you're running an NFL team, and they seem to happen with the Dallas Cowboys darn near every year. Darn near every year.
And this kind of goes to, I mean, not just football, but really any pro team. If you got studs and they're young and they take care of them,
And it's
take care of them. Yeah, young studs, take care of them.
And some of it is not even like it's really not challenging. It could be tough to cut the check, don't get me wrong. But you approach the player and you say, all right, the highest paid player at your position is, say $40 million. We're prepared to offer you $41.5 million a year. How many years do you want on the term? Player chooses, and then that helps you decide guaranteed money. Like that right there is to me very simple. Very simple. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And the worst part about it is they start like from 8 years ago to like 4 years ago, they drafted really well. So they have guys to pay, which is a luxury. It's a first-class problem, but they just do a terrible job of paying them once they establish that they're good.
And it's a guy that fell to 12 to him.
Yeah.
Again, these guys just don't come out of they're not available in the draft every single year. They're just not.
No. Yeah, you wait a long time for another Micah Parsons. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the show. Looking forward to it. We are on countdown to preseason Panthers football on Friday. Let's go. In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. When you're there, like, comment, share, grab a video that you think your friend might like and send it to them. We would greatly appreciate that. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great night.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the preseason, so me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Krys Lee, are back in the trenches with our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp rolls forward. Insight on the rookies, the fresh free agents and surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast.